Thank you for joining us for another episode of Vampires and Vitae. This time we're checking it up a little bit for you and doing a little bit of a question and answer about the things that we've done so far in the campaign. So there's been a lot of questions online in our community about some of the lost episodes of what you guys have been calling it, what we started playing before we started in Tokyo itself. So we're going to address some of this. We're going to go over Tokyo. So if you're new to joining us, London is going to be a fantastic time. But this is going to be able to kickstart you, if you will. So you can always go back and watch those episodes. You can find us on Spotify or Apple Cast or so what's some of the other ones?
Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You might see me posting on Reddit.
We've got Google Podcasts.
Yeah, we're on
Google Podcasts.
Breaker.
Mm.
Radio Free.
Dude, just look up Vampires and Vitae. Yeah. Show it to your friends.
Mm-hmm.
Just sit them down, tape
We have a
them to
Facebook
chair.
page. We have a Twitter.
Yeah, right.
We're kind of plugged
Can we start with this question?
All right.
What is Vitae?
Okay. Vitae has a dual meaning. In the book of Vampire Vitae, it's going to be lifeblood, or what vampires would be feasting on, what keeps us going. It's like the essence of life. It also has a tie-in to wine as well. So Vampires and Vitae, just kind of a natural collection. Also, you can join our sister company at Wizards and Wine. Obviously, we have a thing about illusions and drinking. Imagine that. So,
We were usually a little drunk.
Yeah.
Is what we're trying to say.
it's okay. It's fine. Like
Like,
it's
Practically
just-
VIP.
Yeah,
you know,
it's-
it's like big brain smart, but also I have a problem. No.
Yeah, right.
The entire episode where Danica's crying.
Yeah, right.
We will go
Yeah.
over that.
There wasn't a lot of
Big oof.
Chardonnay that night.
Also,
that's for sure.
I do love that they are being dubbed the lost episodes. You know, it feels.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I do like that.
Yeah.
And it is a real shame that it was lost to time, file corruption, and overall just bad audio quality. It's gotten a lot better as we've gone through, but we started this off as a one shot to break up the minutia and the monotony of everyday life. You know, get together. I didn't really know Rob or Melinda that well.
Yeah, that's true. I
I'd
think
met-
we'd only met once and briefly.
Yeah, you served me a bottle of soju.
Mhm.
They had come over to play D&D one time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and then you guys came over to play D&D.
Oh, that's right. We did do one session.
I think
that
it
was
was
like the
right before you
first-
got married,
yeah.
right?
And that was like the first time we all like got together, and it was fun. I could immediately tell that I could be fucking weird.
Well, yeah, you showed up in white face paint.
Yeah,
Like,
so-
I mean, like,
So when
We
we
will
it's
post
like-
those pictures on
yeah,
our
right.
Patreon
Oh, yeah,
whenever we get
these-
one.
Yeah, these do exist.
yeah, Sarah comes up and she's like, "We're gonna be playing this game called Vampire," and I was like, "What is Vampire?"
And I was like, I don't really know, but it's happening.
And I was like,
What's
"Okay."
going
so
on?
I stressed for like 3 hours making a character sheet. I made myself a piece of shit.
3 months later, you know, like simple.
And yeah, so like I show up because he's like, "Oh, we're gonna dress up. It's gonna be a fun little thing." And I was like, "Ooh, nerdy, cool." So I just go all out. I
Right.
slick my hair back.
He
I'm
shows
wearing-
out the face paint from Halloween of last year.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
And
yeah.
mind you, we started playing in March. So we've got 6-month-old face paint.
Yeah, right.
I go chalk white. I
Yeah.
put blood on the lip. Eyeliner.
I forgot about the blood
Hey,
detail.
hey,
Yeah.
the girls also had like
Yeah.
costume jewelry that we
Yeah.
bought
Oh,
special
yeah.
for the occasion.
Yeah.
But I figured if I'm gonna go big. I need because I was actually very uncomfortable with not knowing what vampire really was.
Sure.
Oh, sure.
So I figured if I just went all in, chips down, Vegas style, betting on black, I'd have more of a fun time. And here we are.
Yeah.
Um,
yeah. Also, there was a whole bunch of people that like you'd never played with at the table.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Because-
everyone involved.
So
It
the
was
very
kind
first one wasn't recorded, and there was a lot of people at the table that had also never played. So it was comforting in that sense, and the four of us had so much fun that we just kept coming back for more. We
Sure.
we narrowed down the storyline to these base characters.
It was definitely overwhelming at first because we had, 2 days before we played to learn
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember you sitting at the bar, like working through the complexity of what it
Yeah.
is to make a vampire character.
Yeah.
The whole D10 system.
It's
'cause-
it's only more complicated than D&D in the way that it's more about the character itself and less about the mechanics.
And
Actually,
I had just gotten into D&D maybe 4 months beforehand, so I was new. I was still dipping my toes in the water, you know. But yeah, it is very quickly become one of my favorite RPG tabletop style. I've got a love for D&D that will never die, but Vampire is. And I got to give a lot of credit to you, Robbie. You know,
Oh, thank you
for,
very much.
for creating a story that I could keep coming back to and wanting to know what's going to happen next.
Hey, honestly, it's really about the table. All I do is paint the background, and you guys live in it. So
I would like to briefly remind everyone what Tyler looked like the first time we played.
let's see.
Do you have the
For
photo?
those, oh wow,
Oh my god!
you actually look younger somehow.
Yeah, right.
You look like Travis Barker. How is that?
At his own wake, maybe.
Yeah, right. Actually, Sarah, I'd like to talk about that because you were very new to the D&D world. I mean,
Yeah, I brought her into it, and I
Yeah.
myself was new.
So out of those two worlds, like, can you give me like the biggest differences that you see between? Because you've had multiple DMs now, and you've had multiple types of stories.
Right.
I'd even say that me and Tyler have similar styles of playing because Tyler also runs D&D for us when we need a break from
Vampire, yeah.
Vampire.
I'd have to say that the biggest difference is probably that it's much easier to roleplay in Vampire because you don't have to stop every 2 minutes and be like, give me a perception check, give me a strength check,
Sure, I
things
can
like that.
understand
I do like the mechanics aspect of D&D. It almost makes it easier to play. I don't really have to focus on being in character. I could just be like, I'm going to poke that plant with my sword, and then you
See
immediately
what
go into
happens.
yeah, and then see what happens.
Yeah, then we get only through one.
Yeah, and then we get
That's actually
TPK
a direct
by two
correct.
Vicuses,
Yeah, right.
like-
Yeah, that happened.
We didn't record that, but that happened.
And actually, Melinda, because you do DM,
Yep.
like, what do you think if you were to DM a vampire game? Do you think that it would shift your focus? I mean, is that something that would be different for you if you're going to do it on the vampire side compared to what you do on your D&D side?
Sometimes when I'm behind the screen, I find that
I'm so
there
sorry.
is- it's all right. I find that there is times when what Sarah was talking about, when like the people around the table are kind of on a roll and they ask a question, and you can't. I mean, you can give them the information, but it's more fun if they roll low and you can only give them a piece of information.
Sure.
And, I do find sometimes it does maybe get into a little bit, the mechanics of D&D can kind of get in the way of the story. But, I mean, again, that all just comes down to the DM and how you do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes, some games I'm heavy on dice rolls, and others we've rolled the dice like 3 times.
Yeah.
Well,
I
I
do
mean-
like that aspect of D&D, being able to roll so
Yeah.
much. But then when we come together for Vampire, it's just like cheese all the time.
Yeah, right. It's a nacho spread, you know?
Yeah.
the way
Like you can drink during Vampire because you're just playing a character,
Sure.
but during D&D you have to actually look at numbers and be like, what am I rolling? What does that equal?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I would.
You have to think more.
If I had to like make an analogy, which I don't, but I'm going to do it anyways. For me, D&D, both playing and DMing, it's kind of like a paint by numbers kind of
Yeah.
thing. You're filling in individual moments that will, irregardless, you will get to something, you know. And with Vampire, when we play, it's more like Bob Ross, where it's just kind of happening.
Right.
It's happy trees
It's
everywhere.
just happy
Yeah.
trees. You know,
and
like,
accidental little bushes.
Yeah, it's like the end of the world, but it's much more fluid.
Yeah.
Is I think what you guys are saying,
Yeah.
and I would completely agree with is it. I get lost in the fact we're even playing a game
Yeah.
because it's not until I actually get into like some kind of combat or like use one of my obfuscate abilities or something like that. I'm like, oh yeah, shit, we're playing a game.
It's just effortless because you get into the mindset of that character.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you just react as that character.
It can do both. I mean, like you
Yeah.
can use the Book of Vampire to make it as astringent or as rule heavy as you want, and you can also take D&D and make it as role playing if you want. But I do completely agree. I think that a vampire has so much in the personal existence that it is to exist forever. You know?
I do have a question from a fan that actually ties into this.
Okay.
He wants to know, he said, for you and anyone else, the personal connections you have with your character.
Well, that's, I think,
Interesting.
let's pass it around to the people that play it. I mean, Melinda, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I got a question.
Yeah,
Why are you so weird?
Yeah, right, yeah.
Honestly,
Who are you?
Anna is the most absurd answers and questions and comments that I can come up with, and
And like, what would happen if I took 2 edibles and then played a game?
right, that was a bad night. But
But that was lava. It's
The-
fine.
Which is in the law.
We'll get to the lost tapes in a bit. The lost episode.
Right,
We were gonna
We'll
start off.
explain.
We're already off the rails. It's
Yeah.
okay. It's
okay, but no, personal aspects of Anna, I don't think so. I think that there's still a lot to Anna that we haven't really managed to showcase yet. You'll see a lot of it in London,
Sure.
and you'll see her make some choices that maybe not everybody's going to agree with.
Yeah.
But including Sarah.
Yeah, you're going to do that at home as well.
I'm
Yeah.
so sorry. The
Yes.
strawberry attacked me.
Oh God. But yeah, no.
That was it. That was my one.
Anna is just every absurd thing that I think I've ever wanted to say. And
So maybe
So-
just rolled her into a character.
You with no filter,
Yeah.
but like more cartoonish in a way.
I don't know.
But-
You're not married to her. She's, I think she's not being true. There's a lot of overlap, if I'm to be completely honest.
Now, is that before or after Anna became a character?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, husband.
Has Anna bled into you? You have legitimately in interesting moments of our life. Let's just say, snuck into your Anna voice and mentality.
I find myself quoting stupid shit that we say all the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was
Like-
telling Robbie yesterday that I quote Rasputin at work all the time, and it's
Yeah.
hilarious to me, but no one gets it. Then I realize how strange it is.
Yeah.
Right.
It was like, it's fine. And then Abe looks at me really
He's
strangely.
like, no, it's not fine.
Yeah. 10 of 10, 12 of 10.
Yeah, right,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
like this game. Don't get me wrong. This game stresses me out sometimes. Like back when I was working, coworkers like, "You doing okay?" You're like kind of quiet. And I was like, "I just don't know if Lawrence is gonna get through this." And he's
That's
like, "Who is Lawrence?" I was
Yeah,
like,
right. That's the thing.
He's my boyfriend. Don't
Yeah,
worry
he's
about
like-
it.
We're a thing, but we're not a thing, and also none of it's real, and it's in my brain.
You guys are very sweet. I really love this.
I'm in
story
a
between you and me.
semi-relationship with Robbie's brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
But that is a really interesting question.
Absolutely,
Like,
and that's actually
because you're. I mean, in real life, you don't portray as a binary individual, you know. And I wouldn't consider Day to be homosexual. I consider him to really appreciate, you know, in his
all
long
aspects
life.
of life.
Yeah, exactly.
I think this is a great question because I honestly I've had this conversation with people a lot before when it comes to role playing and stuff like that. Sarah sometimes is like, I don't think I'm role playing good enough, and I'm like, what you got to understand is every character that you make, no matter how crazy, how different from you, they're rooted in some part of your personality. You know, whether it be something that you do yourself or something you think would be a cool idea. You know, it's rooted in some part of your personality, no matter what. So there's always that connection that you'll build with that character, irregardless. For me, I think Day came out originally. I just wanted to be the piece of shit of the group. You know, believe it or not, I am not a drug dealing anarchist with rage issues.
And we all made our characters thinking that we were playing a one shot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but
So it was supposed to be
Oh,
ridiculous.
you thought
Yeah.
you're playing a one shot? I thought. I introduced the big bad in the first episode. You know,
which we'll get into.
Yeah.
But no, I guess a personal connection with Day is just he wants to be happy. He's just misguided.
Sure.
You know, obviously being cursed as a vampire and everything, but losing his sire and turning to drugs so that he didn't lose his humanity in another way. Kind of trying to numb that aspect, because obviously a lot of vampires will fall into drinking the blood of humans until they die, which
Sure.
reduces your humanity because it feels so good and it's like heroin to them.
Yeah.
So he's like, I'm just gonna get heroin instead, that kind of idea. So I think that personal connection is just somebody who misguidedly tries to find joy in the wrong places,
Sure.
which I did a lot of in college. I
Like-
didn't do heroin, but but I connected to that as we played the character, being like, that feeling that you have when you don't know what to do and sometimes you make the wrong decisions because of that.
Sure.
And then finding Lawrence to be kind of a guide back to some sense of morality. So that's
Something to live for, even though you're undead.
yeah.
Sarah, anything that, like, specifically from your personal life that has either, like, gone into your personal life because of the character, or like something that you brought really from your backs, like who you are as a person that is kind of now shined underneath this lamp?
So, Danica was the second character I'd ever created. My first one was for D&D. And my D&D character was kind of what I would want to be if I lived in that world. So with Danica, I wanted to make it the opposite. So I made her, like, super strong and kind of stupid. And, like, I think it's another version of myself that I would be if I wasn't who I am right now. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So
And then
for you,
just-
it's more like an escape almost.
Yeah.
Like to do pieces of your to bring pieces of yourself into something that doesn't exist as it does.
Yeah,
in
it's like the
world.
things that I'm not good at that I wish I could be good at.
Sure.
So it's almost, some people play video games because they're like, oh, this is cool. I can fight with a sword really well. But I'm not good at video games. So this is like that for me.
All right, that's good.
Like, Danica's really strong, and she's got a very strong will, which I guess I also have. I'm pretty stubborn. But
No.
oh, thanks, guys.
Don't shame me.
Don't shame me.
Let's get into these lost episodes, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess
Start with
I wanna-
episode
I
one.
wanna-
I mean, I'm so sorry. The audience has been waiting for a recap. Can
I
we get?
know. Yeah, let's stop edging them and
I
just get
mean-
to the point
Yeah.
here. So I'm just gonna go over what day was originally, then pass it over to get an idea of where we started
Okay.
in the very beginning. So in the very beginning, the very first episode, I was Daedrith, and I think I went by Daedrith in the first episode. Day happened a little bit later.
Yeah, I started calling you Day because I couldn't remember Daedrith.
Yeah, no one wanted to say your full name.
right.
So
And
I
it's
started
clever,
I started
you
going
know.
by
Yeah.
Day.
Do you know how hard Daedrith is to say with a Russian accent?
Well,
So sorry, you just did it, but.
Do you know how hard it was, though? I had to really think about it.
So, aside from that happening, I was the main drug aficionado of the lower Las Vegas area. I basically made sure that there was good stuff coming in, good stuff going out. I was kind of like the middleman for a man named Dante who ran the clubs, and he ran vampire-friendly nightclubs throughout the city. So I was employed under him, doing kind of the underground work, the seedy underbelly. I hung out in the sewers, made the connections. That was kind of my niche. That's what I was originally doing before everything hit the fan. I was a scummy dude. I was there to party. I was living the Vegas life to its fullest. Sun goes down, get ripped, wake up in a sewer, wait for the sun to go back down, go to the nightclub, do my rounds.
That's probably a reason you get along with Vol so
Yeah,
well.
hang out
you
with
know,
Mike, the
like, yeah.
Nosferatu that's
Yeah,
down in
right.
the underground tunnels. Like, that was my character. He didn't have a meaning or a purpose. He was an anarchist simply because he hated the idea of power. He didn't even like Dante because he didn't like the idea of having a boss. So he thought he was working for himself.
Right.
And that wasn't really the reality of the situation, but that's how he interpreted it.
Yeah, I mean, hell, you still got a guy going to New York.
Yeah, exactly. Anna, what were you?
Anna, when my first intention with her when we started the game was she was going to be severe. She was going to be calculating.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What?
I know, right?
I killed the David.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Very
and
calculated there.
she ran all of the magic shows in Las Vegas, and the David Copperfield show just happened to be the one that she was personally involved in the most. So yeah, one night she was up in the rafters, kind of keeping an eye on the show and watching everything unfold. And
Oh, by the way, I just want to interject real quick. David Copperfield in this reality was also a
vampire.
also a vampire,
Also a Tremere.
of your same clan.
yes,
so.
so he was also a Tremere. And for some reason, which we still don't know, Anna was tasked with looking after him. So,
Like a babysitter.
right, yeah. And one night, it's just things went sideways, and she ended up ripping his lungs out through his back.
Yeah, that did
Yeah,
happen.
that happens.
Yeah.
Oops. I had to kill the David.
Yeah, that did happen. Sarah? Just from like your original day one kind of feel.
Okay. Back when we had a fifth player,
Yeah, right.
we'd created our characters together to kind of work as a team.
Yeah.
So when I made Danica, I didn't really have an idea of her personality. I just knew that she needed to be like really physically strong.
Mm-hmm.
So Danica originally was working in the club for Dante. He had turned her into a vampire back in like the 1920s in London when she saved his life. And then since then has just kind of been like a pet until eventually I killed him. And now...
Oh, you really skipped forward there.
Yeah, sorry. I
You
mean...
went from day one to
Yeah,
like,
right. And then
Whoa,
I killed
whoa.
my sire.
Bring it
Yeah.
back.
Sorry.
That didn't
Okay,
happen.
all right. So...
Why?
And that's why we're doing this,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so that we can walk you through the steps of
And that was
how
not
All right, so
one.
day
a
one.
lot of these things happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Day one is dead.
Day one, Danica didn't have much of a personality. Didn't really know who she was yet. I just had my stats to go off of. I'd never played Vampire. I'd only played D&D, so that's what I was focused on.
I think he woke up in an orgy in a booth.
Yeah, I woke up in a booth in the club.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Right?
right.
No,
Yeah.
there was
Yeah,
like
Day woke up in jail. I woke up in a booth.
Yeah. Where
Yeah.
did you wake up?
I
or
was
no, you were
already
just
at
at the
work,
club.
yeah.
She was awake. She's cold, calculating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah, I actually, thank you for reminding me. As Day, my first action was waking up in a jail cell, like Elder Scrolls style, you know? Instead of you meet in a tavern, it's like you wake up you're a prisoner.
At the Camarilla jail.
I was at the Camarilla jail, and I actually, this was a kind of an omen for what's going to happen is I fucked up your whole plan.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know Vampire that well, so I was like, I gotta lean into the role play. Like, I'm just gonna be scummy little dude weaseling out of stuff. So I pulled the whole "Do you know who I work for?" thing, and I called Dante and was like, "Would you get me the hell out of here? Like, I got business. Your business needs to get done." And he was able to get me out of the Camarilla jail so I could be on my way. That's when I hired an Uber to get me to the club because I was running late.
Right.
And I got in and I offered this kind of cute Asian guy like $1,000 to get me there in like 10 minutes flat. On the way, he mentioned that his name was Lawrence.
Yeah.
And
By the way, fans of Lawrence, he was a noob. That's all he was. There was no.
Yeah, there was no plan.
I mean, there
I
was no time
I,
pope.
I got in the back and I was
I
like, "Hey,
mean,
what's your name,
like,
bud?" And you're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Lawrence."
Like,
And I was like, "Lawrence, it's good to meet you. Here's $1,000. Keep it running." So that's how I ended up getting to the club, which is about the same time that you woke up.
Yeah, so Danica woke up in a booth, and Dante's father and sire, Michael, had just shown up in town from Italy. Didn't know why, didn't know what his plan was. And eventually we go to start opening up the club, and then Michael sees this guy who had one of those like wooden crosses on.
He was a Middle Eastern guy. Yeah.
Middle Eastern man, and just started acting really strange. Day shows up at the club.
Oh yeah, our very first interaction was like, "Fuck you, Danica.
Fuck you, Day.
Where's Daddy?"
yeah, right.
Because I knew that she was just a pet, so I was really getting under her skin. That was kind of like we decided that like we're not gonna like each other.
Yeah.
Because of our relationships to Dante, and so I would refer to Dante.
Well, he would have looked at both of you as just pets.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I was so far above Danica in my mind because I was actually running shit, and she was a bouncer at a club.
And Day was a piece of shit that falls asleep in sewers.
Yeah.
Also
that'd
very true.
Yeah, right.
I was proud of it.
But Michael started acting weird, like he was about to eat this guy in the middle of the club. So you did what? Silent death?
Yeah, no. So the club is popping, it's banging, everything's going crazy. We're trying to make it a really good night for Dante's father, Michael Corleone, and because he'd flown in from Italy, it was a big deal. We didn't know why he was here, but he pulls this Middle Eastern guy in. They're talking, and then he starts getting very vampirically aggressive, you know. And you're not supposed to feed on the main floor. You have to go to a separate area.
Yeah.
And then he just launches onto him, starts like ripping apart, like viscerally, you know, not like feeding, like this is beyond that. So I ran over and I cast was like Silence of Death, or
Yeah, I believe
I don't
that's
have
what
the
it was.
sheet on me right now, but it basically creates an area effect of silence, so that if you were to feed, that you could feed secretly, which blew your mind. Because
Yeah.
again, like my first day, I was like, I'm just gonna cast this.
Oh, sure, because
Yeah.
I was planning on having because I just like tried to create chaos in Anna's area.
Yeah.
You know, and then we actually had two more players that were like downtown.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, don't play with us. If you're listening, Jay, we miss you.
Please come back to us.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I cast that to get a hold on things. We managed somehow, Danica.
I ripped a railing off of a staircase.
Yeah, yeah.
That's right.
And then tried to hit Michael with it to get him off the guy, and it just like bent around his hand and threw me back.
And then Dante broke his father's arm, and then Michael actually.
No, Michael broke Dante's arm, and then Dante used the shard to stab Michael in the stomach.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, and then it kind of snapped him out of his like frenzy for enough time that we got him upstairs. And as that was happening, Anna, who we all knew through word of mouth but had never met, was dealing with the David thing. You want to go over what was happening on your end?
Yeah, so I was up in the rafters, kind of getting the overview of the show, and you know the audience comes in and everybody's sitting down and stuff, and it's like one of the final parts of the show, not quite the grand finale, but getting there. And David picks a woman out of the audience who was pre-selected to have big boobs because David liked big boobs, I guess.
And
She was a Karen.
yeah.
Yeah.
She was. We called her the Karen.
Yeah.
And also something about Swedish something.
Yeah, we'll come back to that. We'll circle around to that. But so she goes up on stage and she's wearing one of those crosses, and it had an effect on David, and David started feeding on her on stage in front of the audience. So I killed all the lights in the theater and dropped a trapdoor in the stage, and David and the Karen fell. The David and the Karen fell underneath the stage, and that's when the dumb David.
Yes. If anyone's wondering, that's where he comes from.
Yeah, dumb David.
He
had
was a day
to,
one character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
was.
truly. So he came and had to finish the rest of the show, and luckily, it was the dumb David's favorite part of the show, which was like a soft BDSM set when there were lots of dancing women, and so
I think you were in the back going, bring on more boobs. You know,
I'd like to
You're like, keep on, like all of
my
them
God,
now.
right? Yeah, because we were trying to distract from how actually terrible dumb David is
Right.
at doing the magic show.
Yeah, he
so.
usually just stands there in like a pose and stuff happens around him.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't actually know the show that well. He just looks like
Yeah.
David.
Oh,
Yeah.
and David, by the way, dumb David is just a guy. He's just
Yeah.
a dude
I
that
love it.
happens.
His
to
name's
look
not even
like-
David.
Yeah, right. No, he looks like David Copperfield, and they use him to also help fix like dresses. Like he's
He's like a body
Yeah,
double.
he's
I
like the
mean, like,
seamstress.
yeah,
He was the
like, that's his
seamstress.
special skill
Yeah.
is that he's outrageously lucky, and he can also sew.
They were on a world tour and they found this caterer that kind of looked like David.
Yeah, right.
And they
Yeah.
were like,
It's like,
okay,
yeah,
this
you're
is
the
perfect.
guy.
Yeah,
right, you're the dude.
You want a job?
Yeah. Right.
So while all that was happening, shit was going down, like popping off downtown, right?
Yeah.
on Fremont.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fremont.
so we had another two characters in the beginning that were kind of running downtown Vegas, was like Fremont Street area.
And for those of you that are unfamiliar with the layout of Las Vegas, there's the main Vegas area, which has like the Luxor that you see, the big
The Strip.
pyramid, that's the Strip. And then there's another section of the city, it's like 15 minutes away?
Yeah, about that.
You drive about 15 minutes away, and it's the old Strip. It's the original, what Vegas actually was built to be, and it has a lot of the older machines and like live music
Yeah.
and stuff like that. It's got a big,
It's where like the Golden Nugget is,
Yeah,
and the Four Queens, and
and it's like a lot shorter. Nothing's more than like 3 stories.
Yeah, parts of it, that's
so,
for sure.
But it looks really good in its own way. but it's a completely separate area of the city. So
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, really, what was transpiring is like an organized attack, which really that's essentially what was happening.
Yeah, it was obviously very calculated, and it definitely seemed to target the players around the table.
Yeah.
Oh my
Imagine
God,
that.
that's
think-
crazy.
A plot
So
that
weird.
involves characters.
What had
Like,
happened? I think we all got like text that said like get downtown now.
that was a big part in the beginning. Was all because you guys all hadn't gotten together yet.
Right.
And in the world of Vampire, I'm sure a lot of you at home already know this, but there's really not a huge amount of you. You know, it's not like every other person's a vampire. There's maybe in a city the size of Vegas, possibly 45, and that'd be a huge number, probably more in the 20s and 30s.
And then, to be fair, in our campaign, Vegas was like the central hub of
a huge aspect of
the
vampirism.
undead
Yeah.
of vampires. It was kind of a place that you can go and you know you're going to be safe. Tokyo ends up
Yeah.
being another one.
Yeah.
It's a more traditional version, but Vegas was kind of like the up and coming.
Sure, the new guy in the
for
block.
for the kindred, like
Yeah.
the younger, like a
Yeah.
thin blood would probably fit in better in Vegas.
I mean, all of you would be semi-famous of being. I mean, some like a vampire in Wisconsin. Yes, there's vampires in Wisconsin. What? Yeah, right. But he would know, like, have heard your name.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it is a smaller community. So, and you guys were kind of rock stars. The young up and coming, you know, youth that is running one of the most attractive, cool cities in the world for kindred.
like
So-
we were overseen by the Camarilla, but we were really building this new central hub for kindred society.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Where it was based on freedom and partying and enjoying yourself
Yeah.
instead of the rules and regulations of the Camarilla or the safety of Tokyo.
Sure.
I think that's one of my favorite visual from that first day. We all thought that Anna was terrifying because no one had met her.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah, she was like
And
she
then-
was playing it as like this horrible
Yeah.
thing.
So then she kills the David. She's covered head to toe in blood.
That's right.
We're all
Okay.
taking Ubers and driving cars to get downtown, and she's like, "I guess I'll take the tram."
Oh my god, the
I'd
tram.
forgotten entirely
And
about
she
that.
didn't even take the tram. You got on the damn
Not that they're
hood.
even-
You
Yeah, I
got on the roof. and
In
you,
real
like,
life, there's not a
surfed it.
tram that goes from the strip to downtown.
There should be.
There should be, but
you
like,
know what? In our world, there is.
so you've just got a blood-soaked Anna like on top of it, which is
Spider-Man-ing.
totally like on brand.
And didn't
but-
I beat everybody down there too?
Yeah.
So you were just standing there, Carrie style.
Even Dante and Lawrence
Like,
racing
whoa,
each other. Anna's on top of a train, and she's like, "Where is everybody?"
Yeah, so when we went to go downtown, we kind of. When we went to go downtown, Dante, Dante and I made a game of it where we were gonna race there
Sure.
for the hell of it.
Uh-huh.
And I had an Uber driver, and he had like some souped-up bullshit car. So
Accurate.
So I'm like,
He brought
let's-
pictures.
let's-
What? He had like a
It
Honda
was-
Civic or something.
He had like
Well,
some.
it's Lawrence, man.
it was-
Yeah.
it was some-
Before I was like, okay, I guess he's just an amazing driver.
Yeah,
Like-
it was no. We decided it was like a sleeper car where
Sure,
like
yeah.
it wouldn't be picked up by
That's
the
right,
police, but it
yeah.
actually has some good equipment
Yeah.
under the
Are you
hood.
sure it wasn't a Volkswagen?
It wasn't.
It was
Volkswagen.
something
It was
like-
an SUV style.
It was like a mom car for sure.
Was it?
Was it a minivan?
It wasn't a minivan.
It wasn't
think
a
it was a
minivan.
minivan.
If
No?
anything, it was like a CRV.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Eh.
But
Loss of the trials of time.
Yeah.
what we were going forward, and that's when you sprinkled in like, I thought that he hit a fire hydrant, and then
Oh
and
yeah,
then
that's
he
the
didn't,
first time.
and that was
yeah.
like the first
Little bit of
moment.
magic.
It was like that was kind of weird, but maybe I'm also high because like in the beginning I was
Yeah.
always doing drugs, so I kind of played it off as like I'm probably seeing shit as I often do.
Sure.
But that was like the first moment that like Lawrence isn't normal.
Well, he was just supposed to drop you off, and then you said, "Can you stay here?" And I'm like, "Well, I guess he's a character now."
Yeah.
Like,
I
guess
just don't want
it's
to wait
gonna
for
be a
another
thing.
Uber. Like it's
Yeah,
like
right,
8
yeah.
minutes, you know, and then you got to
Yeah.
find the guy and you got to ask, "Oh, are you dating?
Yeah.
Oh, are you?"
Yeah.
Robbie, did you want to briefly explain that fight on the strip and then the introduction of the walking saint and the Justicar?
Sure. So
Yeah, so we all got downtown at that point.
Because I did get a couple of questions from people saying they know that it's a character, but they still don't fully understand what the Justicar is.
Okay, so Jessica, there's only going to be 4 of them at a time for the Camarilla. Now, this doesn't go by the doctrines of the book. This is something that's a little bit homebrewed. So on your own campaign at home, you don't need to follow this, but this is just how I enjoyed it. There's only 4 of them at a time. They're going to be not the most ancient vampires, but they're going to be the ones that show the most promise in a certain skill. They're the problem solvers. In relationship to that, you're also going to have the walking saints. And again, this isn't in the book, but feel free to use them. They're just the Jessicars for the Inquisition, essentially. So
Different
they're-
sides of the same
yeah,
coin.
exactly.
Yeah.
They balance each other out.
I always kind of looked at it personally as like the Jessicar is kind of like a special detective.
Sure,
kind of
yeah,
thing,
he walks in and has jurisdiction over almost anything.
Yeah, like
he can come and like tell the prince to shut the fuck up because he's really talking to like the high table.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
then like the Inquisition is more like if another government sent somebody
Yes.
who was also a detective but worked differently through different rules and regulations.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's like, who's this French bastard? But
right, yeah,
that's kind of how
essentially, yeah.
you know, where it's like there's like they're kind of doing the same thing, but they're dealing with it in totally different ways.
You never want to see either one of them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's
usually a bad.
yeah. I mean, like
time.
if they're in your world and they're in your sphere, shit has gone to the fan. There's only 4 of them in the world on each side of this camp, and usually when you see one, unless it's specifically kindred, if it blends into the world at all, you'll see the walking saints as well. So them being together, which is part of the friendship of the walking saint and the Justicar. They're the ones that are always sent together to deal with the most horrific things that are happening to the human world and to the kindred world at the same time.
Because there was a pact, and for the vampires, it's to keep up the masquerade, and by doing so, the Inquisition will help
Yeah,
in
it's-
these situations in
it-
order to maintain a balance.
It's so there's just not an all-out war.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what would happen if the vampires and the Inquisition or humanity itself really went to war? There's a lot of dark stuff in the shadows. You know, it's
and
not-
especially when you're playing in a current setting where everything's recorded, everything it would.
Sure.
There's no way to lose that to time anymore.
Yeah.
The wars.
Except for our beginning episodes.
yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Somehow we did it.
Yeah,
No,
right.
but
It was day and Ghost in the Machine.
Yeah, there you
yeah,
go.
but like warring back when you could just play it off.
Yeah.
Sure.
Before photography.
and it could just be myth and
Yeah, it was
legend.
word of mouth. Eventually, those people will die,
Yeah.
and then they won't be believed.
Sure.
And fact becomes legend, legend becomes myth, Lord of the Rings style.
Sure.
You
Right.
know, you can't
And
you can't do that anymore.
You wouldn't have, eagle-eyed conspiracy theorists,
That
spotting
can,
the same
that can
people.
also talk to one another and line
Instantly
up their theories.
communicating.
Right, but they wouldn't be seeing the same people showing up in the same photos for,
So there's like
150
there's
years,
like
for
a
example.
truce, if you will.
Yeah.
And I think it got stronger as time
yeah.
progressed because of the
Yeah.
rise of technology.
Yeah, absolutely. Because to eradicate vampires, it would have been an all-out war. You know what I mean? So it's better just to live and let live.
Yeah,
than,
as long as we stay within our means.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And I'm glad we ended up with, because we never met the other 3 Justicars or Walking Saints, but I'm glad that we ended up with the personalities of those particular characters.
Oh yeah, good job.
I still hate the Walking
That we
Saint,
did.
but
right.
But there's a real genuine friendship in between.
yeah,
those
no,
two.
I think personally I don't mind his personality. I think it's kind of funny, but Danica just hates him because of his
Oh, that's
voice.
fine.
Like it's just so bad.
Oh, that was, by the way, on a spur of the moment. Like I was like, "Hi," like just.
He's like the worst summer
ca-
camp
he's like,
counselor
that's
ever.
that is what
Right.
he's based off of. Like he's a Christian camp counselor. Like, but
Yeah.
like that can like.
I mean, I was one of those, and I still hate this guy.
That's fantastic.
So we eventually got downtown, and we had a bit of a kerfuffle. Been waiting for years to use that word. And that is, I believe, when we met the prince for the first time.
Yeah,
Was that at the Bellagio?
No,
No.
it was when you went to the Bellagio.
Yeah.
Okay, you're right.
So
So
the
we had
Walking Saint. That's when you went the Walking.
That was a
Saint, the
badass
Justicar.
introduction. I really wish that we
I
had that
wish
on
that's
tape.
one of the moments
they were
I'm really
they were
upset
walking
about.
on each side of. So on Fremont, there's this huge LED canopy that plays like what do you say like what was the word I'm looking for? It's like
like
It does, like-
montages and
it's
shit.
like montages of like
Yeah.
bands and stuff, and it's got
Think of a giant big
illustrations.
screen
Like
TV
advertisements
that
and
Yeah,
stuff.
like,
it's like a giant screen.
but over a city block.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were walking on each end of it. towards each other, and as
Through
they
the
were,
dust and the Jessica.
Yeah.
Wasn't he like dragging a sword or something?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like it was a whole thing. I was playing.
Yeah, there were like
for whom,
sparks coming off
Yeah,
of the
right.
sword.
Yeah.
From
The,
whom, for
There's
whom
really
the bell
intense
tolls
music playing off the
playing,
iPad.
the,
like-
I believe the Jessica like closed his fist and like pulled the blood out of like.
Oh,
the
that's
air.
right. I had forgotten that. Yeah,
You know,
'cause that's actually you can find that in the book. Forget what page it's on, but
Well,
very
yeah,
cool
he,
Don't
stuff.
give too much away because we still don't know what clan he is.
Yeah, right. This is
So
true.
he like pulled the blood out of the air,
Mhm.
and then the Walking Saint, in response to that, like, what did he do? He like
It was like a
turned,
holy light thing,
yeah, he
wasn't
used
it?
like a holy light to
He
like
turned out all the
turn-
fires or
you know,
something like
he
that?
turned all the bodies to ash.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. So they
to get
wouldn't
rid of
turn
the
back.
evidence.
Yeah.
So like there was no chance of them turning.
Yeah.
Like all the bodies just kind of like lit up in this holy fire and then turned into ash and just kind of like swept away.
Yeah.
So then it was just like this, or like literally a second ago there was all these dead bodies.
Yeah.
The Jessica like desiccated them,
Mhm.
and then the Walking Saint lit them on fire, and then it was just like a clear city block,
Yeah.
and all that was left was like the rubble.
Yeah,
It was-
well,
And us
and
standing
us,
there.
Yeah.
and us standing there like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was really
Yeah,
cool.
the
I
book
like how you
will,
did the thing.
Why are you so weird?
Yeah, right.
Have you met yourself?
Yeah, the book will sometimes tell you to watch out for playing such high power characters to introduce as NPCs. But I mean, you're the storyteller. You know, I mean, there are no rules. Like if remember that you are going to deal with some power creeps from time to time. But you know, if you want those big moments, sometimes you just need gravitas character types to
Well,
come
I
in.
feel like that was a really good character moment for us because, like you said, we were like kind of like semi-celebrities in Vegas, and then all of a sudden, we get our shit rocked.
Yeah.
that
and
fight
these
does not
two-
go well.
And these two guys come in and they just clean it up like it was nothing.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, our world is imploding, and they're just like, sweep up the ashes. It's
Well,
fine.
that's their job. You
Yeah.
know, I mean,
And it really made my character have that oh shit moment.
sure.
You know, where I was like, I thought I was doing good, and this guy just came in and, okay, all right, well, how's everyone doing?
Right.
And then we went to Bellagio, right?
Yeah, they went down to the Bellagio.
Yeah.
That's where we met the prince.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we fought like 12 of those people with the crosses, and I think they made like everyone else in the crowd bow down, and then we had to kill them all.
Oh no!
No,
That happens.
that's
That
the
happens
Bellagio.
at the.
That is Bellagio.
That is
stadium.
Bellagio,
At
right?
the
Yeah.
Bellagio, yes.
Yeah.
Well, at the no, it was the prince that did that.
Yes.
He-
'cause
That
he
was the
used
introduction
presents.
of the spine luge.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the prince showed up and
So just to make that clear, we've now gone from downtown fights. You've now collected the Jessica and the Walking Saint, and we're going to the Bellagio.
Why did we end up at the Bellagio? Were we going to talk to the prince, or
we ended up that was the reason
Yeah.
why.
Okay.
But we
Wasn't
didn't
there-
know at the moment.
Yeah.
It's just
wasn't-
the escalation of the fight. You know, downtown's a small area than the strip, so
yeah?
There was
It's
something.
like-
The prince let like the Jessica know, hey, something's going on in Bellagio.
Yeah.
So we
Okay,
kind of
yeah,
like
yeah.
went over there.
I do
And then-
remember Danica fell in the Bellagio fountain.
Yes.
this is true.
Because I tried to walk on a railing, and you're like, roll your decks.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a wand.
Yeah. Stupid.
With cat reflexes.
I know.
So there was like a St. Patrick's Day parade because this actually took place on St. Patrick's Day. That's
Oh,
actually,
that's
Oh,
actually
yeah.
This our first episode was on St. Patrick's Day.
so it was St. Patrick's
Which
Day
was-
theme.
Did we
Which-
play on St. Patrick's
we
Day? Is
sure
that what that
did.
We
was?
did.
Yeah.
Which
We did.
technically is the last day that any bar was open in Vegas.
Yeah, because it was the day
I mean, in
before we shut
reality,
down for
not-
Corona,
yeah,
I
well,
think,
yeah.
right?
It was
Yeah.
the last day for almost every bar in Vegas.
Yeah,
Wow,
right
I
after
forgot it
that,
was on
everything
St.
shut
Yeah,
Patrick's
down.
so
Day,
we were playing the end of the world
Literally.
during the end of the world, exactly as it was.
So we met the prince, and there was this parade going on, and we noticed that out of the crowd there were certain people that weren't vibing the same way.
Sure.
Like people would be like dancing and stuff, and there'd be like one guy that's like oddly static in the crowd, just kind of watching.
Mm-hmm.
And then the prince used his presence, I think it was.
Yeah. Well, I
and
mean, like he's
made
the Prince of Vegas.
and he
He's-
made everybody bow.
Can I ask a question? Why do all of you hate the Prince?
Because he's a dick.
His crushed velvet shirt. And
That's
Okay.
the one
I'll tell you
time he
why.
did anything useful.
He also
I'll-
gave you
no,
jetpacks.
No, no,
Okay,
I will
we'll get
tell.
there.
I will
We'll
tell.
get
I will
there.
tell
okay,
you
okay,
why.
okay.
Anna has something to say about this.
Yes. So, at some point, and I can't remember why, Anna called the prince on the phone, and they were just chucking shit back and forth at each other.
Oh yeah.
That was during the beginning episode
Right.
at some point.
Yeah, but
Because we were like, who is she talking to the prince like that?
right, yeah, and I can't remember
Is that why we went to the Bellagio? You called him and you were like, hey, what the fuck? Where are you guys? Shit's going down.
Yeah, I know that I absolutely gave him an earful of shit. I know that
Yeah, because Robbie was like, just so you know, this is the prince. And you're like, I don't care.
Yeah.
No one talks to me that way.
right? And the prince kept trying to put me in my place, and Anna was just not having it.
And this was the birth of Anna.
Yeah.
So that's your answer.
Honestly, that kind of is the birth of Anna.
Yeah.
Just like,
Honestly? No one? Okay.
How dare you?
Tough crowd.
But yeah, so the prince's introduction through Anna probably didn't paint the best picture of the
Sure.
prince.
I was angry at him for a different reason, and I'll get into that in a moment.
Yeah.
I was just angry.
I think Danica just hates everybody.
I was just so mad. So full of angst.
So yeah, we got done with that fight, which is actually a really cool fight because there was a lot of different kinds of fight mechanics that we got to use.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, that's another piece that I wish that we still had.
Yeah. And during that time is when Dante went back to the club to check on Michael.
Yeah, which is a whole nother subplot.
Oh, and
Yeah.
I actually, because I'm pretty sure this is when this happened, I have 2 questions specifically about Cerberus,
Okay.
of all characters.
I love Cerberus.
Yeah, Cerberus is a great character.
So one person says, if you could do a bit on the origins of the dog, I forgot his name, like how he became part of the group, and if he was always able to speak, his goals in life, besides mating.
besides mating, I don't know if there is
Yeah,
any.
and then the second question, so the actual question is, why do my SpaghettiOs make lightning when I microwave them in the can? But it says, so the SpaghettiOs question still stands, but I want it answered explicitly by Cerberus.
That is fantastic. I took Cerberus as like an ancient wolf bloodline, like kind of like the saber-tooth, tiger and that kind of thing. So something from like the prehistoric age. I always thought of Dante as a collector, something that has gone through history and likes these things of power. Probably gifted to him by Michael himself. And Cerberus is the last of his kind.
Oh yeah, actually, I do remember. Not to cut in, but it was basically when Dante became a vampire. His first memory was next to Cerberus as a gift, as a form of protection.
Yeah,
like a take
that's
care of.
something that is just. I mean, I think that you could see that through Michael and through Dante. Just
Yeah.
like a consistent an appreciation for the past, personified in a living creature. Now, Cerberus is ghouled, so that means he has been fed vampiric blood, so he's even a little bit stronger and more receptive to individuals that that he can bond with, essentially. Also gives him a longer lifespan.
And that's why we can hear some of his words, but not his full thoughts, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, you just get pieces.
Yeah. Dante had a stronger connection than Danica did.
That's why you only get 1 to 3 word sentences.
Right.
Like, him and Dante could have, like, practically full conversations. So the limitations of...
So if
the
Danica
intellect.
gave Cerberus her blood, would she get more of that?
I think that, like, the natural bonding of her and Danica is, like... I don't know if you guys have noticed, but he has spoken more and more words, not just single word responses. That's just about that bond becoming closer and closer. There's also vampires in this setting that are called gangrel. They're a little bit closer to, the world, and they can compel animals to do their biddings and whatnot. So I'm just doing a little bit of home brewing here. There's not really a stance of how this happens, but if you go into the werewolf mythology that's also brought to you by our wonderful creators of the books that we all enjoy and love, a lot of the werewolf characters can communicate with wolves, like the Red Talons, for example. That's going to be a direct wolf-to-wolf kind of translation. That's why you'll find out later in these episodes that you're going to be joining us on the fantastic adventure of Vampire, a little bit more connection with wolf world.
So, after that, we all went to the stadium, right?
No, so
No.
we finished up.
Oh, right, we went to the Prince's Lair.
Yeah, we finished up at the Bellagio, and we decided that we were going to go to the stadium. because there was a storm cloud over it. And again, for those of you that aren't familiar with the politics of Las Vegas, we have this giant stadium that's been built. It's almost done now. When we had started, it was about half built.
Yeah, still in construction. Yeah.
But it's like 90%. It was like more like 50 or 60% done.
Sure.
And it's this big stadium where the Raiders are going to be playing for their off seasons, I think. Or
No,
No,
it's,
we have
we
them
have
now.
the Raiders.
oh yeah, that's right. We
the
have
Las
the
Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, we have. the
Don't
Raiders.
add us. It wasn't
Don't
our
add us.
decision.
Yeah, right.
So we noticed this giant, unnatural storm cloud that I think Anna got kind of a premonition that like, ooh, that's bad. Because she's got a stronger tie to the occult.
Right. Yes.
So she was like, that's really not good. That is not just a storm.
Yeah.
So we piled into Lawrence's car and we flew off towards the stadium. Dante had already gone that way after.
Sure.
Yeah.
So he actually ran
No,
away.
hold
He
on.
got
wait
there
a
ahead
second.
of us.
There were rockets for a
No,
reason.
We're getting
still
there.
getting there,
I
yeah.
remember this because you Quentin Tarantino this shit. So
Well, that's right.
so
Oh, I wish some of that was
Yeah,
on.
right?
I wish some of that was in the can.
So Dante fled from Michael.
Yeah.
Too strong. Too much.
And he left them chained up in his
Yeah.
mansion.
So he went
essentially, yeah.
towards the Raider Stadium because he saw a storm cloud and he was like, all right, this must be, ground zero kind of.
Well, Michael was breaking out of his chains, or had broken out, right?
He still
was-
was able to subdue Michael with restraints,
Yeah.
essentially. Yeah.
But he was close to breaking out. He was like, I'm not going to fuck with this.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets to the stadium. As that's happening, we're on our way to the stadium and we get jumped while we're going through one of the tunnels by McCarran, I think is the one
Yeah.
we picked. There's a tunnel that
Yep.
leads to McCarran. We get jumped by a bunch of dudes that are like climbing out of their Jeeps and their like little Humvee.
That's right. I'd forgotten all about that.
Danica is on the hood of the car trying to knock him off.
Yes.
Dante is like stabbing at him
Yeah.
through the window. Lawrence is freaking out. And then all of a sudden, at the end of the tunnel we're about to hit, there's these explosions coming down. Again, you said it was like a coordinated attack.
Yeah.
Wait, did you mean Day, not Dante, stabbing through the window?
Yeah, that day I was stabbing through the window like a madman. And so this explosion goes off and the tunnel starts to collapse in on us. And right before it crushes the car and total party kills us, Lawrence like screams, and all of a sudden we're back at the Bellagio.
Yep.
And we're all having that, oh, what the hell just happened moment, trying to figure out what's going on. And then we look over and Lawrence is in the car, phasing like out of the car, back into the car, onto the street, smoking a cigarette, back into the car, screaming, vomiting. The vomit's gone. And then,
Yes.
This is a piece of another fantastic piece of lore from White Wolf. I've had the pleasure of playing a lot of these different books, a lot of different manifestations of it through the generations. This was taken from Magic. It is called phasing. It's called a paradox. It's the repercussions of doing really absurd magic. So that's like you can't just magic your way out of everything. There's always a cost.
yeah. So
So-
that's happening. He's losing his shit. There was nothing we could really do.
Didn't Anna feed him blood?
You did. You're like, here, suck on this. And
Yeah.
then he vomited it back into the car and like sprayed the windshield.
Right.
And then started phasing even more.
Yeah.
So we were like, what can we do? And he's like, just leave me alone. Just get out of here. So we went with this time we made the decision to go with the prince. And then we went through his little Bellagio gondola layer bullshit.
You know what? He did let us
I
drink
thought that
blood out
was
of
cool
golden
as
chalices.
shit.
That's
I
true.
mean, like-
We didn't trust him at first either. He was like, here, have this. And we were like,
No, we did. You didn't. You didn't.
I was like, eh.
We were like, I was like, oh, cool, blood.
Yeah.
And then you were like, I don't know. But we all fed, had a little bit of a short rest there.
Yeah.
Got to his bat cave, basically. He
I did everything I could to make this damn guy cool.
And then-
pure hatred from the table.
And then we get to his man cave, and there's a wall of jetpacks.
I gave him jetpacks, people. I
and
gave him
he grabbed
jetpacks.
one and was like, he hit a button,
Yeah, he was
and
like,
all the glass
"Peace."
shattered. All the glass
I know.
shattered above, and then he goes, "All right, I'm out." And then he left, and we didn't know where he went.
And you wonder
And
why we hate
that-
him. He's like,
that
here,
was-
I'm going to help you. I'm going to give you all this cool shit. We're going to take care of everything. But bye, you're on your
But
own.
he's
Yeah.
not going down.
Yeah.
He's the prince of
Right?
the city.
Yeah, but like
you know?
Good
that's
lord.
that annoyed me as a character because I was
Sure.
like, well, where are you going, man?
Right?
Yeah, and then
So-
when he
This is your city under attack.
eventually
I've
when
never-
he does
I've never
show back
flown a
up, like
jetpack.
nothing has changed. He did
Right.
jack shit to help us.
and then
Jetpacks? I mean,
and then so
Where did he go?
so we
Have
all
some
strap
shit, I
we
don't
strap
know.
into these jetpacks. We strap on, strap in. Anna and Danica fly up like they've done it before.
that didn't go so well for you, if I remember
I rolled
correctly.
a 1.
Yeah.
And it was such a simple roll. It was like a 4 is all I needed. And I just slam her. I'm just like flying. I'm phasing myself
Yeah,
basically.
right.
You're flying into like
I'm
walls.
flying into the
Yeah.
walls and the controls and
It, like
everything.
his face was like dragged along the floor.
Yeah.
And then he made me re-roll, and then I rolled a 10, so I was like, "Fuck this!" And I
Yeah.
flew off, towards the. And then we get to the stadium.
That was great.
So now we're at the stadium.
Yeah.
Right. This is the culmination. This is where actually the campaign was supposed to end originally.
Well, that was supposed to be one night. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
This,
So,
at this point, we're
and-
actually like 3 or 4
I think
sessions
it's
into
4
it.
games
We're like
in.
4 games
Yeah.
in. We're having a
And
great time.
long games.
And they were
Yeah.
long.
These were when we weren't doing it for like
These
a
were like
podcast.
6-hour sessions,
Yeah,
right?
This was just when we were just having some fun and.
That's why we had
blah,
jetpacks,
blah,
come
blah.
on.
Yeah, I mean, I was doing it all for the cheese.
Yeah.
And so this was where you were supposed to do all of this in one night, which obviously didn't happen.
You had such lofty ambitions.
I know, right?
You forget all about player characters and how they will mess with your game.
Oh, you guys don't
Oh,
mess
but wait, we're
Yeah.
getting there.
Oh, right. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
So we get to the stadium.
We get to the
Dante's
stadium.
already there.
Dante's getting his shit rocked by this.
Oh, that's right. He had a fight in the halls.
Yeah,
and,
And then he
They
tried
were
to go
like-
a different way and got fucked up by some other shit.
Yeah, he was just like running around like he was in a horror game. It's just freaking out, shooting his gun at nothing. And so we show up. We show up, and there's this in the middle of the stadium. There's this like in this circle of people, and they're chanting. And there's one old guy in the middle with this old book. And there's like this like visible energy coming off of everything. You know, the storm is growing. They're chanting this weird shit. So we're like, what are we gonna do? And I think Dante had previously tried to get into the circle and got blown back like 100 feet.
He was
Yeah.
up farther in the
Yeah.
seats.
Well, no, I'm saying like when he first got there, he tried to go in, got blown back 100 feet.
Yeah, like a
and then-
force field type thing.
That's what pushed him into the upper
stadium
catwalks
area,
and
yeah.
the stadiums
You know, like
and all
the-
that kind of
the
stuff.
nose-
well, he was still in the
nosebleeds.
seats because he had Cerberus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cerberus was injured at this point. He was messed up because you're not supposed to 1v1
Yeah, an entire.
an entire idea.
How did you and Anna end up getting into it? Because you
So,
guys ran first.
I saw Anna get in with just pure willpower and weirdness. She managed to.
Darling, you need to get that tattooed on your ass.
Oh.
I mean,
Willpower
like,
and weirdness.
willpower and weirdness. The and sign on the top.
Yes, because nothing says amazing like an ampersand on your trans stamp.
An amper stamp.
Print it. Print cuts. Let's go to. That's good.
Well, I saw Anna do it, and Anna was kind of like this small. She's like a smallish vampire.
Yeah.
You know, she's kind of short.
I've always looked at you as like Betty Page, as kind of like my visual when I'm.
okay.
Really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
but I mean, actually, can we just take a second and like I know how I see you guys.
So you know
Okay, yeah, Betty Page.
you know the anime that we were watching about the school with all of the gambling, the dark-haired girl.
Oh, okay.
That's
Yeah.
that's Anna.
So not so visceral across like the bangs, but more.
Yeah, it's
Well,
all
I mean,
very
like,
blunt,
well-
all very sharp.
Well, people at home don't
Yeah.
know the anime we're talking about. So
Right.
can you paint it a little bit
Okay,
for us?
fine.
Are you insinuating that
just-
our fellow
right?
listeners are
Just
not
go and watch the
nerds?
anime about the private school and all of the gambling. It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Do not do that if your kids are around because reasons.
Yeah. So anyway, she has really long black hair, and it's probably the most striking feature that there is about her.
Sure.
It's really long. It's that black that's so black it's almost blue, and it's very, 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 very shiny, like unnaturally shiny.
Sure.
And the cut is very blunt, and I mean, just the way that her hair is, it's there's never a hair out of place. It always falls exactly
Sure.
where it should.
Sure.
And yeah, so that's
Tyler,
her
like
thing.
I've always, maybe it's because you were wearing like bright white face paint the first day, but like I've always seen your character as the Crow.
Yeah, right. Not quite as badass, but a similar idea. When I first had him, he was 6 foot even with his shoes on,
Okay.
you know, and lanky, not emaciated, but kind of that, you know, when you see someone that dabbles in the recreation of drugs, they're usually a little like lankier
Sure.
kind of idea, kind of gaunt, but not sickly. Messy black hair. It's like a shiny black. Not like the deep black, but just kind of like, you know, just like that shiny black. It might just be grease, honestly. It was like shoulder length, kind of slicked back behind the ears, and a dark aesthetic. Just kind of a angry, brooding kind of guy.
So the Crow.
definitely, yeah, just not as badass. Definitely paler face.
All right.
That's about it.
All right.
You know.
And you know, like my version of yours, Sarah, is I actually see the hero from Kill Bill.
Beatrice.
Beatrix Kiddo,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
but with black hair.
Give me 1 second. I'm going to Google that too.
Uma Thurman.
I know what Uma Thurman looks like, but
Well,
not
that's
specifically
the
from that
same
movie. Beatrix Kiddo.
But with black hair.
Just super strong and
Yeah.
powerful and
Badass with her sword.
yeah,
Wiggle
right.
your big toe.
Yeah.
Because you are literally, that's pretty much, like, she is this badass.
That's just what I see. But what that's why I'm asking the question.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what do you see?
I mean, it took a really long time for me to even figure out her personality. I think, like 2 weeks ago, we discussed what she actually looked like. And I think I came to the conclusion it's something similar to, like, Taylor Momsen almost, but with, like, dark hair. So she's really, like, not skinny. She's just, like, very lean,
Okay.
but somehow is super strong.
Like a lean athletic.
Yeah.
Kind of like what's that woman from all of the Fast and Furious movies?
The Vin Diesel's
Hispanic,
wife in it?
yeah, Hispanic,
this is-
really badass.
Yeah.
Michelle Rodriguez.
Yes,
she
yeah,
is
it's
a
kind of like
badass.
that kind of feel.
Not, like, overly buff.
No, but
or,
just
like,
like
muscular.
yeah, right. Just like toned.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
She looks a lot less threatening than she actually is, but probably with, like, sharp features, you know?
Mhm.
I don't know, guys. I'm not sure.
Whatever you want it to be.
Someone
Your
draw me a
fantasy.
picture, I might figure
Yeah,
it
Yeah,
out.
right.
someone just send us some art. That
Yeah,
will be
right.
first person to send us what you think that she looks like.
That's what she's
That's
gonna
it.
look
That's
like.
canon
Yeah,
from
that's
now
it.
on. Be
Yeah.
gentle, please.
Yeah, right.
Where were we? Oh yeah, so we get to the Raider Stadium. Anna gets into the circle with her occult knowledge,
Oh, that's right. That was a really hard roll, if
Yeah.
I remember correctly.
and my question was, how fast can this jetpack go?
Oh yeah.
And you're like, I don't know, like 60 miles an hour. I was like, cool. I'm gonna floor it just into it.
that's
Yeah.
right.
And you were like, excuse me?
yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna floor it.
This was the first time that I think our characters really kind of decided to become
A group.
like co-conspirators,
Yeah,
for lack of
A
the word
cohesive
that
unit,
is
you know.
eluding me.
Friends.
companions.
Best friends.
Best friends forever.
Teammates?
What's the word? What's the word?
Like 10,000 of them that refine friendship.
I know. Yeah. Anyways, it
Partners
was.
in crime.
Yeah,
Wait,
I think it was like the
co-conspirator?
first time that like we actually were like, okay, you're weird and I'm weird, so let's just be weird and kick ass.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I flew into this force field essentially,
I
and I, had to
just
roll-
want to break you just for 1 second. I want you to pick up right where you are. But like literally, none of these people liked each other.
Oh no,
This
not
was
at all.
for weeks, which is just a joy to play as a DM. Like it's just none of them liked. Like there was no camaraderie. The world is ending, and they're just like, yeah, go fuck yourself.
Which was it made for a really fun.
It
roleplay.
really did.
It made Robbie's life so
Oh
difficult.
yeah. Like,
We got one dude going off the stadium alone.
but you know what that makes like you guys is because I think you have a very genuine friendship at this point.
Yeah, and
Like,
it grew organically, absolutely. So, yeah, I just floored it, hit the force field. I rolled a critical success on it, so
Yeah, you
I
did.
actually smashed into it. Jetpack explodes behind me. I land. Anna at that point was getting
Actually, I
beat
made you
up.
double roll for that. You
Yeah.
had to like land, and I'm like, and now you have a bomb on your back.
Yeah, and I got like
Yeah.
2 crit successes
Yeah, right, yeah.
and looked like a total badass. Followed by getting both of our asses handed to us. You got these were like tentacles came out
Yeah.
and grabbed Anna because she was trying to stop the whatever was happening. I guess you
The
call it
ritual.
the ritual, the
Yeah.
prophecy, whatever have you. These tentacles came out of the clouds and like grabbed you. I tried to like cut one in half and it actually shocked me and like almost knocked me out. I took like 3 points of aggravated damage.
You're
Yeah.
going to see more as you listen with our London series coming up to you next Friday. If you listen to this now, a little bit more explanation about where those tentacles were coming from.
Yeah, it was a really good like prelude to what actually ends up happening. So we're getting kicked. Danica ends up riding Cerberus.
Well, Dante had called me up to him, I think. And since he was my
Yes,
sire,
yes.
I was like, fuck you guys, I gotta go up there.
Yeah, definitely.
Again, no inclusion here.
Yeah, well, I couldn't get all the way up to him, and he was like, ride Cerberus.
Yeah.
Or I had asked you, I was like,
Can I ride? Yeah.
can I ride Cerberus? So even though he was really hurt, I was like, please do this thing for me. Rode
Yeah, I think
Cerberus.
that's probably like your first true because it was really supposed to be Cerberus and Dante. That was the connection that I was drawing in the beginning. So
Yeah.
that was really your first, literally jump onto Cerberus. Like,
Yeah. So I like rode him and then had him stop, and I jumped off of his back. He kind of like catapulted me
Mm-hmm.
into that force field.
And you also got in.
Yeah, and I got in, and then
Everything hit the wall after
stabbed the guy doing the ritual or something.
that. Yeah, I was planning on tackling him on my very next turn. I took blood cocaine, which in the books. Here's the thing about drugs. In the books, they are all pretty much negative effects.
Yeah.
And it makes you not want to play that kind of character.
Yeah, I mean,
I
honestly.
mean, if you want to, that's fine.
Yeah.
But we homebrewed it so that they actually give you temporary buffs, and then you
Negative
go through
retracts,
a
yeah.
small withdrawal period afterwards. So it's it's like taking the buff, and then afterwards you're weaker. So I took the blood cocaine for the first time. My very next thing was going to be to tackle him and take him out. Danica comes up and she's like, "What's up, motherfuckers? Yippee-ki-yay!" and it just kills him.
Yes.
And then he was like, with his last words, he's like, "You fool, you've done the hardest part for me.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I was strong
Oh,
enough."
that's right.
Wasn't
Really?
there one last guy that Anna you tried to stop from?
I tried to stop him, and
Or you tried to stop
yeah.
him.
It was
So
a full blood
So
sacrifice.
he
Yeah.
dies, and then everybody else in the circle starts slitting their necks.
Yes.
And I'm freaking out. Anna's freaking out.
I grabbed a book.
She's like, she grabs the book, and I grab one guy at the last second, and we're going back and forth.
Oh, you're right. Just to stop the ritual from
Yeah.
finishing. Yeah.
And I mess up on like my last strength check, and he manages to throw me off and slits his neck, and then out plops a snake.
And then the snake fucked up the floor, right?
Yeah,
Well,
so
that's
he landed
yeah.
like the ground starts shaking, earthquakes, the whole nine. We look up and there's this like demonic giant snake demon materializes out of the ether and lands next to us, and then the ground starts collapsing under us, revealing like the sewage systems and stuff.
And Anna and Danica fell through like
Yes.
immediately.
You
Yeah.
guys,
Well, actually, that all happened in the next episode, which is one of the things that I truly am upset that didn't make it to air.
Not gonna lie, I was having like 10 minutes ago having a hard time trying to figure out what happened at the end because you Quentin Tarantino'd everything.
Yeah, I did-
So
told it
we
in reverse.
Yeah, you told
Yeah.
it in reverse. So I'm like, oh, I remember like where I woke up and what had happened. But then the very last part of Vegas that we played was that ritual, even
Yeah.
though that's not the last thing that happens.
Yeah.
Technically, what we just described happened
Out of
after the
order,
fact. Yeah,
yeah.
out
Yeah,
of
it was like the
order.
last session of Vegas that we played.
Yeah.
But it happened before things that had happened in like the
yeah, we
second
did
session.
all kinds of
Yeah.
crazy.
If
But
that
for,
makes
for
sense.
chronological sense, all of this
Yeah,
happens.
that's the direct line of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, the
in time.
direct line
Yeah.
is that, and then
But this was all told backwards because all you guys
Yeah.
remembered is ringing in your ears, and you all woke up in the aftermath
Yeah.
of Vegas falling, and
Yeah.
then you guys came back to the idea of what
So,
actually transpired.
When we
before.
fell, they did what you said, some bullshit to the snake.
yeah, Dante got like tail whipped into the rafters.
Yeah.
And got like stuck in the railing up there. Danica and Anna fell into the pit of the sewage area, and I put my knife into my mouth like Captain Hook style,
Well,
or
you
like
got
Peter Pan
buried,
style,
right?
and
Yeah.
I was like, "Well, come get it!" And then I did a backflip, hit my head on a pipe, and knocked myself out.
Hey, man.
Into
Which
the
is
hole.
so day.
You've had some of the best horrible roles of all time.
You're like, come get me, you fucker, and
Yeah,
then
right.
knocked yourself
Yeah,
out.
I was like, this is my moment, and I just immediately
Bow.
dunk, and then I wake up covered in rubble.
Yep.
Your hand was reaching out, right?
Yeah, my hand is reaching out of the rubble. I'm suffocating, like I'm losing all of my strength. I took everything that I had just to get my
That's right.
hand
And,
through.
and Lawrence comes and
And then Lawrence came in, pulled
Yeah.
me out, and then we all.
Someone else was there with you, right? Was it Dante
It was
or
Anna.
Yeah.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
Anna.
No,
So
no,
Anna,
no, no, no. Anna was in the sewers fucking with some.
No, she had
bats.
gotten out though.
I got out.
But
Yeah.
to begin with,
Oh, you
had
woke
some-
up and there was. those
Melinda,
huge
do you want to
bat
go
things.
through
Yeah,
what
like-
happened with
Yeah.
Anna?
Yeah, so she wakes up. I believe we woke up in similar positions where we were both kind of upside down, kind of from the ceiling.
which is such a
Like
callback
bats.
to all things.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. It's really kind of where that came from, like riding in the helicopter and hanging upside down and all of that stuff. Anyway, and Anna was trying to. I can't remember. She was just trying to find her way out, I think. And
yeah, you were just looking for.
Can we pause for 1 second? I just remembered something we forgot to talk about.
What?
When we were taking the helicopters from downtown to the Bellagio, you were in the one with the walking saint, and you were just sitting completely still and not breathing.
Was that then, or was that when we left for Russia?
No, that was then, because when we were going to Russia, we were with Boris.
No, it was definitely.
Because you were in the helicopter with the walking saint, and I was in the one with Jessica.
Huh.
And then you decided to ride with Lawrence.
It's been a crazy chronicle.
Because that's when the Jessica has the pilot, like, turn the helicopter, and I was, like, dangling, and then you were sitting
Right.
still, and the walking saint was like, what the fuck is going on?
Right. That was fun.
Because that calls back to our episode 0, when you're like, if you just sit really still, it
Yeah.
freaks them out.
That freaks them out really bad. Anyway, yeah.
Sorry.
So that's fine. Anna is trying to find her way out, and then she ends up fighting these, basically, if I'm remembering how they were described accurately, pit bulls with wings.
Yeah, it was kind of like my idea of like the cysts that live on set, like like these small little like a tick on a dog,
Right.
Parasite.
but like
Yeah.
the size of set. So like these are these
Right.
horrific things that
Yeah.
he doesn't even deal with.
Yeah.
But like
gross.
they had dropped
Right.
down.
Yeah. Anyway, Anna
You
ends
kicked
up.
all of their asses.
I did.
Oh, yeah.
I ripped wings off of them, and
You like to carry a lot, just covered in blood, and
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like stand and be like,
Right.
so like, are we going to have breakfast or snacks?
Right.
Like,
I need a snack.
I need a snack.
Don't go
Where's
down that
the?
hallway. It's really weird over there.
There's like really bad things over there, you guys. I mean, I took care of it, but you really shouldn't go down that hallway. It's really weird.
also shower.
Not
Like,
at all what Anna sounded like back in the day.
yeah, right.
Right? Anyway, yeah. So, she.
And then you came to the end of the tunnel and you saw Lawrence pulling me out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's-
And then I went over and.
we were like, well, where's Danica? And where was Danica?
Danica was hanging upside down by her feet
I
from a
swear to
pipe.
God, I almost killed you. Yeah, you're about to hear a story.
So,
that, like,
This is the story of the snake in the throat.
So what had happened was Danica wakes up hanging by one of her feet, stuck between like two pipes. So I decide I'm just gonna jimmy myself out of there, and I dropped like 20 feet or something.
yeah.
And there was nothing immediately threatening. So I'm just like walking down this hallway, trying to find my way out. And then I hear some weird
You got to remember at
movements.
this point, none of them had a understanding of what had happened. So this was like the
Oh, yeah.
beginning of the next episode.
This
Yeah.
this snake thing is set, but none of us had any idea that this was a fucking snake god. We're just like, that's weird.
Yeah, we just thought it was a giant
Snake.
snake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm walking down this sewer hallway thing, just like, wonder where everyone is, wonder what happened. Hear some weird noises, and Robbie gives me the option of either running away from it or running towards it.
What'd you do?
Me, not really fully understanding the crazy that Danica was yet, I'm like, you know what? This character would definitely run towards it because she's all about fucking shit up.
Oh, this shit's defining. This
Yeah.
is
when you became Danica.
Yeah, this is Danica.
This is what you'd be called. You'd be called the throat lozenge for a god for your entire existence after this.
This is what made Danica Danica. So
ran towards it.
ran towards it. It turns out to be the giant fuck off snake, and couldn't really fight it. So when it opens its mouth, I had the option of either running away, which would give it sort of like an
Oh no,
opportunity
he
attack
painted
on me.
a beautiful picture.
No. I'm like it roars and like
Yeah, I
anger.
mean-
No, you didn't have the
Yeah,
option.
and you're like,
you
and
made-
I jump into its
Yeah,
mouth.
no, I'm just like, I guess I'll run into its mouth so it doesn't bite me.
Just for the audience, you didn't have the option. You created the
Yeah,
option.
right.
It was
Yeah.
either die or jump into its mouth. So I
was
jumped
like,
into
he
its
made
mouth.
He made an impossible like situation where he was like, you could, like, you turn the corner and you see this giant 10-foot snake head, and and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna jump in. And then it was
If
like
I wouldn't
10
have,
no, there was
I
like 10
definitely would have died.
There was like 10 seconds of silence.
No. Your rolls is what pissed me off. Because, like, okay, so for the audience at home, like,
Am I oversimplifying?
no, it's just that, like, first of all, you shouldn't jump into the mouth of a god.
Didn't know it was a
I
god.
mean,
Thought it was a snake. My
I mean,
bad.
anybody else at the table realized that Robbie was like,
Run.
Yeah.
Like,
First
Like,
of all,
get out of there.
not that I knew this, but we had plot armor. That's the only thing that saved me.
No, it's not.
No, your
it's not. You
rolls.
did not have
no,
plot
no,
armor.
no, 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 no. I was gonna kill you.
All right.
You did
I
not
mean,
have
like,
plot
no,
armor.
that's-
Not at all.
She rolls like 6 successes, 7 successes, 9 successes. Like, it was ridiculous. I mean,
She got 9 successes.
I mean, on like 5 dice.
Yeah.
Like, I can't. Like, I was
couldn't-
like,
you
I'm like,
couldn't
okay,
kill-
I'm just gonna kill my first character. She'll make another one. It'll be fine. You know, this is what we do as DMs. Like, we hadn't gone that far in the story that like I needed to keep her as a like indefensible thing that like we have unanswered questions. I'm like, okay, we'll just kill her. And then she rolls 9 successes.
Sorry.
It's
you
amazing.
You managed to.
I Guardians of the Galaxy like carved my way out.
Oh, it was incredible. It's one of my favorite parts of the whole series.
I can remember at one point it was the last cut that cut through the top of the snake, and
Yeah.
Robbie was like, "Are you gonna jump out, or?"
'Cause now it's up to you.
I do remember specifically, Robbie was like, "This is the first time as a DM that I've been so thrown off by
Yeah.
one of my
Oh
players."
yeah, man.
And then you fell into the water and passed out. I believe.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, you
So-
fell into the water, like you used all of your strength to get out, and then when you fell in the water, you couldn't like get back out fast enough, and you kind of like blacked out. And then we found you, got you out of the creek, and the sewage.
I do want to mention I did keep the dagger from that ritual that the main guy
Yes,
had.
you did,
I
you
still
did.
have it.
That is true.
That is true. And the book is still.
We still have the
Ru-
book as
I think
well.
Rasputin has it.
He does.
Yeah. So we got back to topsoil,
Yeah.
and we look around. The stadium is totally collapsed.
And in comes.
And well, before that, there's just you see the skyline, and you can actually see from the Raider Stadium. You can see all of Vegas. It's actually very beautiful. That's why they put it over there.
Oh,
And
yeah.
That's the entire purpose of it. Is
Yeah,
to
so you
over
can
the
look
strip.
through. Like they actually made the back wall transparent,
Yeah.
so that you can look and see all of Vegas and all of its glory. But instead of all of its glory, it's just destroyed. The stratosphere is collapsed. The MGM is gone. The only thing left is the Luxor with its light going straight up.
Yep.
And
Which we decided not to question at the time.
which
Yeah, that was the next hook, by the way.
we were supposed, we were
Is that
supposed
when
to
you
go.
tried to FaceTime Rasputin and like he couldn't figure out the phone?
Yeah, I was right.
He was
about
in
that
his
time.
bloodbath.
Hold on,
Yeah.
hold on. I gotta talk about this one for a second. So, like, Rasputin was an idea that my beautiful wife came up with. It's like, oh, I am the sire of Rasputin. I'm like, okay, cool.
Rasputin's my sire.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I guess I won't. I'm like, that's just her backstory. Like, whatever. You gotta remember, I only had written to the snake, like, arriving. That was, like, the entire perspective.
That was the big bad.
Yeah, right. That was the big bad. You finish the chronicle. Everyone goes home, shakes hands, have a beer. Things are fine. So when you called Rasputin, I had no idea who Rasputin was.
Yeah.
Like, it was. He is just built around all of your characters. Like, I mean, honestly, I'd love to take credit for it, but you guys have what made Rasputin Rasputin. Like,
Well, to be fair, I mean, the first thing you said was hello.
yeah, because I was like,
I
okay,
can't
I
see
guess
you.
that
Can you
Russian.
see me?
Okay, like, yeah, you called them, and I think he was in like a
He's in a bathtub filled
Full
with
of
blood,
yeah.
with
Yeah.
these bodies hanging upside down, slowly dripping
Yeah,
into
you painted
it.
this picture of like evil, seedy, dark vampire,
But-
and
but he-
you're like,
but he
hello, I cannot understand.
Yeah,
the
right. He couldn't
FaceTime."
figure out his buttons how to do it.
Immediately,
Like, I
just-
guess-
He only has an iPhone to FaceTime Anna, but he
Yeah,
can't figure it
you
out.
can't
The
figure-
rest of the time he uses
flip
his flip
phone.
phone.
And it was
Yeah.
like his left eye was all you could see
Yeah.
for the entirety of the conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, such a dad thing, though, right?
And then he was like, "It's okay."
Well, that I
Well,
mean,
It's like when a boomer tries to take a Facebook profile picture, just so
Well-
close to the camera.
yeah, but I mean, like, in honesty, it's become one of my favorite things on the table. Is like, I think a lot of people in any kind of role playing thing makes tragic stories with their parents. Like, I really like that. Like, Anna has like a great dad.
Yeah.
A really
Yeah.
weird great dad, but like he's like, no, I love you. It's fine. Let's hang out together and have fantastic evenings.
We'll play Mario Kart.
Oh, of course, and I will play Peach because she's fastest on corners. Like,
It's true. It's true. And then he basically said that he knew this was going to happen, and that he sent Anna's brother, Boris,
I love
to
Melissa Boris,
come help
too.
out. And then lo and behold, this Russian helicopter appears with Boris hanging out the side. Like, hello, and he lands,
Yeah.
and we're all like, so Russia?
So Russia, then.
And
Yeah.
to which Robbie's like, but the Luxor.
Yeah.
And we're all collectively like, well, I mean, honestly, Vegas is gone. We should just go somewhere else.
Thankfully, that was the end of that like night.
I think we
So
could sum
I
up
had
the
a
Russia helicopter in about 30 seconds, right? Like, get on.
No, there was a lot that happened on that
I
helicopter.
know.
Yeah,
Oh.
a huge amount
You
of
did a
like
blood bond, which
Actu-
actually brings
Yeah.
up.
Actually, this is when you guys really, for me as the DM, this is when you guys really started, because you had downtime. It's been a lot of action, move, and then like the chopper to Russia was the first time that you guys ever had time.
Yeah, and
I'd like to note-
I missed. Oh, I'm sorry. 1 second. I missed a completely important key part of the story. Is that actually the main reason, besides the fact that the Luxor was there and we decided to go to Russia because Vegas had fallen, is because we asked if anybody could actually help Lawrence because he was still phasing,
Yes. Yeah.
and he was like he would be okay for a couple of minutes and then he would phase somewhere completely different and he'd come back and
Is
you
that
know,
when we stood in a circle around him and we all had to try and grab him?
yeah, we had to
Yeah.
like calm him down, and then we were like, could anybody save this guy? Because I think he's gonna die. And Anna was like, well, my dad's pretty weird. He might know. And so we elected to save Lawrence. We could have left him.
Yeah. Oh
but
yeah.
We collectively were like, well, he saved our life. We're not sure how he did it. He seems like somebody who could be important. Let's take him to Russia.
Yeah, well, when we were all standing in that circle trying to grab him, I think I rolled the best, and Danica ended up having to give Lawrence some of her blood to, like, stabilize him enough.
Ghouled him just enough to
Yeah, just
make
enough
him-
to get him to Russia.
And it didn't work with Anna because Tremere blood, blah, blah, blah.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, you also
Because he's magic, and you're magic.
Or
And
something
different
along
magics.
those lines.
what's Lawrence? What Lawrence has become is not what he was. And
Well, that's what happens in Russia.
And I have,
yeah,
I have
but
nothing in
it
my
was
headphones.
ripping him apart. He'd crossed too many lines in Paradox to. I mean, he was essentially
He was out of place in time.
Yeah, he was dying slowly. Like,
Yeah.
pretty much from almost like a drug overdose. Like he had
Yeah.
used too much, and then just
They
his,
can
his
relate.
body wasn't prepared to be able to do that.
So the flight to Russia was the only really important things that happened was that I got a big hammer because I got lucky, and then Danica got to. You wanted to spar with Boris?
Yeah, I sparred with Boris, and he had this set of 2 silver katanas that he pulled out of the roof. And I sparred with him to trade one of my normal ones for one of his silver ones. And he had cut his hand.
It was like a sign of aggression. But
Yeah,
he knew
with
what he was doing.
with one of his silver ones. And then at one point when we were sparring, he like sliced me with it, right?
Yeah, so that his blood got into you to give you a slight but blonde. I mean, like,
Yeah,
I don't
one
know
of my
if you,
flaws though is long bond.
but like you didn't like drink an entire
No.
pint of like Vitae.
Yeah.
You are
to-
somewhat bonded to
Yeah,
Boris.
right.
though.
Yeah.
You would have a natural inclination to appreciate him.
Just Danica being the confident bitch that she is was like, I can fight you.
It was
Well-
a good fight too. It was a lot of fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love Boris. I think he's a very understated background character.
Oh,
Like,
we love Boris.
uh,
We ship Boris all day.
We love Boris, but oh no, we're not there yet.
But,
Oops.
I mean, you can't have them all be, you can't have them all be Lawrence. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
absolutely.
Like,
Yeah.
but like me personally,
Lawrence wasn't even supposed to be Lawrence.
Yeah, right. I mean, like, but like as I play, I love it when I get to bring up Boris. Boris is one of my
Yeah,
personal
he's really
favorites.
I love that
actually.
we forget that he's there and then he pops up and we're like, oh yeah.
Yeah, right.
Boris.
And when he pops up, he's just like hero. Like, I just enjoy that character.
What else? Is that the first time that we hung upside down?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
You guys decided to hang upside down like bats for the first time.
Yeah.
It became a
Yeah, and that's
reoccurring
we
thing.
had a chat about losing your sire. No, we
No,
didn't.
'cause that
Not
happened
yet.
in Russia.
Yeah, that's right. Never mind.
I retract my statement.
Because I think we
Yeah,
were
that
all
was
going to
good.
go
No,
to
that
sleep,
yeah,
and there
that
were
actually
like
happened.
there were blood bags in the wall, so we all fed, and then there
Yeah.
were coffins provided for everyone. But I was like, nah, I'm gonna sleep upside down like a bat. And you were like, oh, that looks fun.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Then we got to Russia.
And this is where I
And-
met Jessica.
We met fucking
Yeah, the
Jessica.
first person we meet in Russia is
Motherfucking Jessica.
Fucking Jessica. And she's this uppity bitch that tells us to get into an elevator.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're like, Anna, where's your dad? And she's like, you need to get in these elevators, please. And we just got to test you first. And we're like, bitch, the fuck?
Yeah.
All right. So
Anna was not pleased that Rasputin
Didn't meet.
her.
Yeah, I could
When
tell.
she arrived
you
in
were,
Russia.
You were pissed.
Yeah.
So when we got to Russia, we had Day, Anna, Danica. We've got the Justicar, the Walking Saint,
Boris.
Boris,
The Prince.
Cerberus,
Lawrence.
yeah.
Lawrence.
Yeah, you gotta. I mean, I know it gets even more after that, but like, yeah,
Yeah.
you got. You have
we
a
gotta-
full.
Or no, wait. Did the
map.
Prince, the Justicar, and the Walking Saint take the Princess helicopter and then they met us in Tokyo or something?
No, because the prince took my private quarters on the helicopter.
Oh, yeah.
And he also
okay.
did the same thing when he went to.
Right?
Apparently, Prince just knows how to get to private quarters.
Just because, like,
Yeah,
I feel
right.
like when we
So
were
rude.
recording Russia, we didn't interact with them at all until we were in that main server room, you know?
Well, yeah, there wasn't really a way to do it.
We didn't have
Okay,
anything
The
yeah,
to
way
say.
that Russia started.
Yeah.
So we show up, and then motherfucking Jessica
This shit-
tells us to get in these little tiny glass elevators
this is true.
by ourselves. So eventually we all do. Anna's
Yeah,
not
we did.
pleased.
Yeah,
No,
Anna was
I
pissed.
was so angry. Well, not I. Anna was so angry because she full on expected that it would be Rasputin who met the helicopter, and it would be Rasputin who, you know,
Well, he sent your brother to come collect you.
And you hadn't seen him in like
Immediately.
30
I think
years.
she was expecting like a welcoming committee.
yeah,
Yeah.
and she was expecting Rasputin to be there.
What, did you need more than helicopters plus like
Yes.
armed like
Yes.
men? Like
She wanted him standing there in the tundra.
Yes,
Like,
waiting.
oh,
like,
my
hello,
daughter.
you're my father. Where are you?
yeah, very
right?
true.
Instead, he sends the help. Mm-hmm. Rude.
So then we get
Jessica.
separated. Or we get down and then we go into these little subway cars where we're all separated.
Yes.
Yeah, they all open in different areas.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
we walk in and they close behind us and then we're all
That's
in-
when you carve a name into your. Was it your dagger or your hammer?
No, I have a thing where I carve names into things. The first thing is my Bowie knife has
As you do.
My Bowie knife has Apex on it, which just allows Day to remember that he is the apex predator.
That was in the train car, right?
No.
No.
I took my Bowie knife and then I carved what was it? B-A
Bamf.
Bamf? Yeah, it was Bamf, a badass motherfucker, onto the giant hammer that I had. So that's how I spent most of my trip.
And then the train stops. We get out of these train cars, and we're each in these rooms that are specifically catered to us, like our personalities. So Day is in a room with 3 people,
All like drug addicts, basically.
and there's a bunch of drugs. Do you want to go through that?
from what I remember, it was.
By the way, there's a lot of intoxication in Russia.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
We do not promote the use of drugs
Yeah,
or
right.
killing people or climbing through air ducts.
But
Yeah,
also, when we fun fact of this lost episode is Sarah and I showed up, and Robbie and Melinda had no idea we were going to be recording that episode.
Oh yeah. This is the
So-
lost episode that I
so-
wish we had.
So
Yeah,
we're all
right.
This
aware.
is the one
This
where
is the
I
true
have
lost episode.
very little
This was my
recollection of this.
to
Yeah,
this day. This is still what I think was the funniest episode we've ever recorded. And
So-
I think I still have the audio downloaded to my laptop. You can't hear it very well,
Oh my god.
but it's there. It
We-
exists.
We did not know how to use microphones in the beginning. This was.
And we were at a different table. They were like
Oh,
a
yeah.
foot away from our faces.
Well, to be fair, just for all the viewers out there, cannabis is legal
This is
It
true.
is.
in
Las Vegas.
In Las
Yeah,
Vegas,
yeah.
it is
Within your
legal-
home,
it is
and we were
legal-
in their
it-
home.
It is legal to buy and to consume. However, they decided to indulge in that beautiful pleasantry.
I thought that we had gone for the next day.
You
'Cause it's-
internally thought, I'll tell them to. I'll just call it off and tell them tomorrow because I
Yeah,
want to
you're
have a
supposed to
relaxing
cancel,
day.
and then you
Oh
forgot.
yeah. Oh,
You
completely my
forgot to
fault.
cancel.
Completely
So long
my
story
fault.
short, they indulged a little too much, and then we showed up on their front doorstep
You're
and
blasted.
said, "So let's get started. Let's play."
There was a knock on the door, and I looked at Robbie and I went, "You have to make them leave."
And my reaction was, "Okay, I guess we're doing this now."
I was like, "What?"
What's that?
You
Yeah.
looked so scared the entire
Oh
time
my
we were
So
playing.
this entire episode we're about to talk about was not just off the cuff. Like I hadn't written any of it. This was just is whatever.
Insanity.
Yeah, whatever my high mind could come up with at
So-
the moment.
So for me, I go into this this room.
Can't believe we're
There's-
about to tell this story.
There's an
Oh, I'm
This is my
ashamed.
favorite story.
there was an Australian guy doing some rails of coke
Yeah.
at the bar, and there was like an old Asian woman doing heroin, I believe.
No,
yes.
she was
Yeah.
Opiate.
Opiate.
Opium. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. She was doing opium. And then there was a hippie dude on mushrooms in a beanbag chair.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going around trying to figure out what the hell is going on. So I spent most of my time trying to talk to them as that's happening.
And you stashed the big bag of coke.
Oh yeah, because
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
so
Alright.
I went to
the light
talk.
bulbs going
Or
off
no,
around
not
the
yet,
room.
not yet.
Yeah, no, it is because I went
No,
to talk.
because you said, "Wait, hang on a second," and then you ran back in and you grabbed it.
No, this is my story. Your story.
Fine.
Shut up.
Okay.
Tell you my side of the situation. I went to talk to the Australian guy, and he was like, "You want a party? Well, you want a party, man? I don't know, fucking."
In Australian,
So
he
he
says,
says
"You want a
in
party,
Australian.
man?"
He
Yeah.
says in Australian.
In an Australian accent. No.
He says.
In the least offensive Australian accent possible.
I ask him, "What's he doing? What are you doing here?" He's like, "You want a party?" I was like, "Maybe," and then he just like disappears. He evaporates, and my first response was like, "Is the coke still there?"
Yeah.
And Robbie's like, yes. I was like, cool, I'm fine. So I was trying to talk to them, and like the one lady, the mushroom guy was just incoherent, and then the lady on opium was like, "I'll tell you a secret if you tell me a secret, little boy." And I was like, fuck this. So I used Ghost in the Machine for like the first time.
Wait. We'll come back.
Okay.
Sarah, what was happening with you?
Oh, mine wasn't very detailed. Danica being the weird bitch that she is.
You had an orgy.
Yeah, no, I went into the room. There was a dude with a banana hammock and a Speedo who was
That's right.
playing
DJing
DJ. He
with
was
his
DJing
penis,
with
yeah.
his dick, and then there was like a woman
Wow.
and another dude.
That really did happen, and I had forgotten about that moment.
And like
until-
and there was like a beautiful Asian woman.
You know when I kept telling you guys to listen to that audio and you kept putting it off?
Yeah, there was the
I
banana
just wanted
hammock
it to
DJ.
go away.
Banana
man.
hammock DJ, and then I had there was an orgy that happened.
I can't believe this is true. This
Oh
is
my God.
completely true.
We're not editing this out. This is what happened.
No.
Yeah, there was an
Everyone has
Asian
to
girl-
die on their cross.
Yeah, there was an
It's mine
Asian
to
girl-
die
tied
on.
to the bed,
Tied to the bed.
Yeah.
and there was like a third guy.
There's a third guy.
He's like, "You wanna do this?"
Yeah, so then we did that.
Well, like the whole. Okay, so from my perspective, the whole idea was like them dealing with their personal vices, like things
Right.
that like were like within their material that could like make the biggest impact within this fictitious moment in a
Yeah, well,
box?
the biggest impact there was the banana hammock DJ.
By far, in a way. The 9
Who
inch-
needs a needle for your records when you've got a
Yeah,
dick?
right? I mean, like,
Jesus Christ.
do you know what kind
Gonna
of
spin
talent
these
you gotta
records
have?
with my schmeat.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's called
So,
dropping. It's
okay.
called dropping the beat.
So-
Okay.
And then
Wants
Anna-
to go round and
Dropping
round
the
like a
eggplant.
record,
Yeah, right.
baby.
So you had an orgy. I was getting really annoyed, and then you
Oh,
You
man.
spent what? 5-7 hours?
talking
Yeah.
to okay. So there was for you.
Yeah.
Anna goes into her room.
For you, I remember there was a little
Okay,
girl.
please remember, I am
Okay.
in the stratosphere.
So there was a
Okay.
little girl
Oh, we were
reading Rasputin's books.
Yeah, and it was one of Rasputin's original books. And then there was
like a 12-year-old boy.
There's a 12-year-old boy who was like doing card magic,
but
He was, like,
failing.
but failing pretty badly. But it was cute. And then there was a guy who was taming tigers.
That's right.
Yes.
Sorry, so this all happened during Tiger King.
Yes.
So
We called him Jerry Fantastic. He was taming tigers, and he was
Oh my
like,
God.
"He-ya!" I said, "He-ya!"
You walked up to
with his whip.
Oh my God, yeah.
So I say yeah.
Yeah.
How are you? Like, now I'm getting a little bit of like the back, like
Oh,
it's
man.
flooding back to me. Like hi. Like, I mean,
you-
like no, the most like stereotypical, complete. Yeah.
was not following any of it.
yeah. So you're
So
like,
you're like, I'm gonna read this book to this girl so that she gets it because she can't read it. And Robbie's like, well, how long do you read to her for? And you're like, I don't know, like 5-6 hours.
so you spent 6 hours,
Okay.
and then you're like, well, I don't know why I'm doing this. And Rob's like, I don't know why you're doing that either. Like you're role playing, just spending the afternoon reading a
So
book.
all of
Reading a
us,
book.
mind you, are still stuck in our rooms for that long.
And then
Right.
you went over to the King Tiger Boy.
No, she went to the card boy next.
Card boy.
And
Oh,
she
yeah.
showed him a basic trick.
Yeah, you like.
And the deck went everywhere when he tried to do it. And she's like, all right, I can't fucking help you.
Yeah, you gave him one. You gave her 6 hours on a book, and he messed up once, and he was like, "Oh man, I'll never get it." And you're like, "Yeah, probably not." And then you left.
And then like she calls dad, like dad, stop fucking with me.
Well, no, then
I
she
mean,
went to the tiger guy, and
Oh, man.
she was like, at this point, she's like timidly, scaredly in the corner, like in real life on the mic. She's like, "What is happening?"
Yeah.
And she's
I
like,
was so confused.
she's like, "I'm gonna go to the tiger tamer," and you go like, "I see you about twice on a Wednesday, except once on a Tuesday, girl." And she's like, "What?" And you're like, "I done told you twice on Wednesday and once on a Tuesday, girl." And,
So
and
can
then
we,
she was
can
like,
we
So
include the
funny.
part where
Oh,
Melinda didn't know what was going on? So she was like,
I was not.
she
Oh,
forgot
I-
who was in the room, and she says, I'm going to go to the sexy card boy. And we're like, Melinda, that's a child.
She's like, no, you said sexy card boy. And, he's like, and Robbie's like, well, he's like 9, maybe in a couple of years. And we're like,
And then
"No."
Melinda goes, oh no.
yeah. Yeah.
That's not what I meant.
Yeah, I still to this day swear that that's what you said. Was
Listen
that,
to the audio and you
Yeah.
might find out.
Right. Oh my gosh. I just
Oh, thank you for
Whoa.
reminding me about the
Oh,
Tiger
man.
King.
Oh, my
man.
God.
That was
Jerry Fantastic.
Jerry Fett.
That's what we called him.
Man, I'll smack your ass twice if you'd made an opossum, man. There's no
What's
problem
the
with
real
that.
Tiger King's name? Joe Exotic?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we called him Jerry Fantastic.
because copyright? I don't know.
And then, not that it matters much, but Dante was in a room with.
Oh yeah, so Dante actually was a PC of ours during this time period, and so he
And
had
in Melinda.
Man.
so his issue within his room was overindulgence within his own power. So it was like the scenery of Florence, Italy, like just
there was like a
be-
hitman. There was
yeah.
a woman making pasta, and another woman like
Bread.
praying.
Yeah.
Her name was
Soup.
Rosa, and she was making bread.
Yes.
Wow, what a callback! You remember her name? Oh,
Yeah.
you've
Because when
listened-
I crashed, I listened to the audio,
Yeah.
and so when I, we'll get there, but when I crashed through the ceiling,
Yeah.
So the concept in my high mind was to deal with everyone's internal vices. Because you'll find out in a moment
What the
why.
hell were mine supposed to be?
I don't know. You're fucking weird.
magic.
two
Why are you so
children
weird?
and
Magic and reading
like-
my books.
Yeah, right.
like what?
Yeah, Banana Hammock DJ,
Right?
Jerry
They get-
Fantastic, and
Yeah, what was
disappearing
Jerry
Australian.
Fantastic doing in Anna's room?
Right.
And then you've just
You
got
get orgies
disappearing
and drug
addicts.
parties, and I get Jerry Fantastic and two children.
I see
Are
you
you
twice on
mad
Wednesday.
about Jerry Fantastic?
I mean,
Okay, so we spent some time in there trying to figure out Rob's idea, which
Yep.
I don't think there was an answer to at some point. Like,
Oh, no. I had a
We
place.
kept trying to figure it out. Like, all four of us were trying everything we could, and nothing would get us through.
Oh, no, I did do something.
Correction. The three of you were trying to figure
Hey,
it out.
hey,
I was
climbed-
just staring at the side of his head for most of that game.
I did climb a chandelier in the middle of my room and got up to an air duct
This
and
is
started
true.
crawling through them, screaming.
But he said even that was not the answer.
It wasn't the answer, but it was an answer.
Yeah, well, which is what, role playing
He was like,
is.
"You're gonna
You-
do
you
what?
You
Okay."
figure this out. I mean, like, yeah, there's always. I mean, when you do DM, it's like the best thing to happen to you is that your characters come up with an idea that you haven't had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
They
I
will
mean,
always
like-
do that.
Yeah, and it's the best part of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, like when you guys come up with fun and exciting answers, it is the most exciting thing for me. I mean, like that's like the most joy I get out of the experiences.
Yeah.
So
Like-
Anna got out first because she was just like, "Dad, I'm done."
Yeah.
And
So
then
your door
Rasputin was like-
opens.
yeah, Rasputin was like, "Okay."
Yeah,
So
right.
then we get to the part where Anna goes into this control room, and then you see a very long staircase, and a door opens. And then you hear tick, 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 as he goes on the stairs.
Because there's a really tall staircase.
Did I really play
Yeah.
that out?
Yes, you did that. and it's Rasputin going down the stairs.
That was my introduction.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of myself.
taking like 5 seconds and then stopping, and then 5 seconds and then stopping.
I didn't know that was real.
And then you get to, and then you get to the bottom, and you're
no.
like, "So,
Oh no.
so Anna got out first. I got out second.
Well, actually, you got to tell this. One of my things that I do remember perfectly is your first use of Ghost in the Machine,
Well, that's what I'm
because
gonna- yeah,
I
I'm
think
getting
it
to
was
that
one
right
of the
now.
most.
Let's have
epic-
you tell it and see if it's accurate.
No.
No, I'll do it.
Okay.
So Anna gets out because she was just like, "Dad, I'm done."
Yeah.
So she meets up with Rasputin, and then Rasputin's like watching her, and he's like, "Well, she's crazy, like spider monkey." Like,
Yeah, they've
Yeah,
got
we'll see.
screens in
He's
this
like-
control
like,
room
well,
watching everyone.
Yeah, he's watching everyone. He's like, "We'll see what she does." This guy's boring. Why'd you bring that guy? And
Talking
pointing-
about Day.
Talking about me because I'm just like standing there angrily now. He's like, he's real boring.
Skinny
and-
one.
So I decided to use Ghost in the Machine because I was like, I did a perception check and I realized everything was kind of electronic inside.
I didn't even know you had this at this point.
Exactly.
You never used it.
I had never used it, so I was
Way
like,
to throw Robbie off even more while he's high. Like,
well, I was like, are the walls actually LEDs like television sets? And he's like, yeah, actually they are because I did a perception check. You notice that it's all like basically electronic. So one, you're being observed, and two, everything around you is electronic. And I was like,
Well, that's how the world was being created in your like area.
yeah.
I mean,
I was like, cool. I'm gonna use Ghost in the Machine and break everything.
and then
and-
you took your finger and you drew the anarchist symbol on one of the screens.
And then I punched it, and everything around, just everything shattered, and then
In the
and then I
background,
could
it's
just
me
see-
going, draw a dick, it would be funny. And then Day in character's like, huh, should have drawn a dick.
That would have been funny. But then I saw the door because everything was broken. I saw the door, and I just walked in. And I was like, "Well, that was easy."
And then you
Rest-
said, oh, wait, hang on. And you run back and grab the cocaine.
"Yeah." And I came back with a fat bag of coke.
I remember that as well.
And then this is the part where Danica's crawling through the air vents and she's like, Dante, where are you? And he's like, oh no, I'm in great peril. Come help me. And I was like, hang on, I'm going to get to you fast. And then you made me roll to see if we could get, like, you made us both roll to see if we could get within, like, 2 numbers of each other or something.
yeah, it was as the
It was like roll a die, and if you're within 2 numbers of each other, you find him.
the concept within that is like the air ducts
The
on
distance.
these. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like so if you
Following
guys
the echo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. I mean, so.
So fall a couple of times,
Oh, guys,
screaming.
by the way, as if you are a DM and listening to this, come up with your own systems.
Yeah.
Like, it's so much more rewarding.
Especially off the cuff, you
Yeah,
know?
right. Sometimes it's not going to work, but, like, if you can change up your dice roll with your people, it's interesting. You know what I
As a
mean?
player, I always appreciate that.
Yeah. We're taking way too much time to explain this episode, but it was so fucking funny. Like,
God. You know, it's nice to have it explained back to me because I
Yeah.
barely remember.
so
it.
like Dave's
I
still in
don't
his
remember any
room,
of it.
and we rolled real far from each other, and you're like, Danica, you fall, and it's like, ah! And then Day hears it in the distance, and he's like, I do nothing.
I know that it's Danica, and I stay silent.
Yeah. So eventually, I get to a point where I'm like, Dante, are you there? And he's like, oh, please help me. And I just crash through the ceiling onto his fucking bread and wine. And then he's like, what did you do? And so I'm like, hey, do you want a cigarette? I stole these from Day.
That's
And
where
then
that
Day
joke
off camera's
comes
like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Where are my
right.
cigarettes? Oh, you son of a bitch.
So then the floor starts heating up, and
Well, yeah,
Rasputin...
Well, no,
Yeah.
he's now.
No, because now there was Anna, me, and Rasputin were in the control room
Yeah.
watching this happen.
Yeah, so they were just watching TV.
Yeah, and Rasputin's like, yeah, I'm bored of this. And I'm kind of, I don't really know what to do. And I think it was more of just you as a person. We're like, I don't know what the fuck to do anymore. And you're like, I installed lava pits. It was a great idea. I just never. And then out of character, you're just like, you know what? I earned this. Fuck you, lava pits.
Yeah. So you're like...
and we're all like, what? And you're like, you notice the floor starts heating
Yeah,
up.
you're like, the chairs start smoking underneath you. And then
then
suddenly the
platforms
floor
come out.
opens up, platforms come out like fucking
Mario.
donkey, like Mario style.
I remember that.
I mean, this is what I wanted.
So we're
I mean,
climbing
like,
the
yeah,
wall, like these
platforming.
fucking moving platforms.
yeah,
There's
right.
lava underneath. It's video game central, like out of
The
nowhere.
whole time, Melinda's in the corner, still confused as shit.
Old
I'm
Italy's
still-
gone. Bread is gone.
This is
Yeah.
the entirety of
And then there's
Rasputin.
vines on the wall
this is
coming
where
out.
Rasputin became.
Yeah.
So then Dante's climbing up. I blink to the top.
Which is dope.
Yeah, so we get to the top, and then Rasputin's like, okay, fine. And then he puts everything away, and a door opens up at the bottom. We're like, God damn it.
So they go all the way back down.
Yeah, so we just jump back down. But Day and Rasputin and Anna had put a bet on who would die first.
Right.
Well, that would be, I mean, especially at that early of the stage of me developing because Rasputin had a phone call before any of this. That's
Yeah,
all
so-
that Rasputin was.
Day throws down his bag of Coke, and then Anna pulls out the book and throws it down on top of the bag of
Top of the
Coke,
Coke, yeah.
which explodes, and then antiques Rasputin, and he goes like... And then he comes up and he's like, oh, I probably shouldn't have done both at once. Like the book and the Coke.
You're like, this is a powerful book, and this is also very powerful Coke.
Yeah.
So we finally,
Maybe one day we will release this audio.
it's so janky and
Oh
terrible.
man, that's the reason
I
I've never
turned my
listened
phone
to it.
all the way up and I held it
hear
to
it?
my ear and
To
I could
hear
hear
it?
it. And I could hear it
Yeah.
if I had it up to my ear and the
can
volume
enhance
was all the way
audio.
up.
I tell you what, if you're listening at home, send us a like. Like if you really, really, really want.
If you
to
want
hear
this lost episode, like
this-
we're doing a pretty good job of explaining, but it's so much better to just hear
Oh
it.
man.
Oh, man.
Because this is really one of the
Is
first
it,
times
though?
that
We're gonna
yeah.
release the unedited audio.
It's gonna be the worst.
I'm pretty sure I
Oh,
say like
man.
12 words. I don't think that
Oh
I.
no, you were talking.
Was I?
Oh
yeah.
You were
Listen to it
having-
on your flight back to Canada.
You had a whole conversation with Rasputin.
This is
and-
so before we were even like taking this seriously at all.
Yeah.
I mean, lava pits, people, literally lava
Oh,
pits.
man.
So we finally.
and we can cut this down, but like this is
No.
what happened. So you guys are aware.
No. This is canon.
It is canon.
Yeah.
Every time I told you to listen to that audio, I'm like, where is that audio? You guys need to listen to it. I know you don't remember. You got to listen to it. And you're like, yeah, we'll get to it. This is what happened.
This invented Rasputin. This,
really
This
did.
is the entirety of Rasputin.
Well,
Like,
luckily for Robert and Melinda, we all got out of the puzzle box, and that's where we ended that episode.
yeah.
And then Robbie, sweating, was like, "Okay,
go.
go get the hell out of my house."
Yeah.
I did my best.
I was
Oh,
like, I need to
man.
go to bed.
And we show up for the
God,
we show up for the next session, and it's so much more serious from there on out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
where things started to get very real.
I would actually say this is because we did record again on this episode, and then this was like, I was like, okay, so we're not just doing this for a pastime. Like we're trying to
Do
create,
something.
Yeah,
Let's
like
try to do
yeah,
something.
let's
Yeah.
try to do something.
Yeah.
Let's try to be more on mic. Let's try to be.
We go from there into that hallway that was lined with the vials of blood.
Oh, Rasputin's wine cellar.
Uh huh.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's where Day gets the vial of the first person who had done cocaine and the DMT.
Which I am still terrified to use.
Yeah, something
Cocaine is
odd
gone.
will happen.
DMT.
We all
I
got
don't
some
know.
really special blood.
What did I end up with? Oh, the blood from the last Tsar of Russia.
Mm-hmm.
Thank
yeah.
you. Cool. Yeah. So, actually, I really like that visual of like Rasputin being like a curator of a museum almost of like human experiences. I really like it. Doesn't work in our campaign, but it would be really fun to see that like he thinks blood tastes different by the emotions and times that like people had it.
It's the
Yeah.
resonance,
Yeah.
which is a thing. If you look in the V5 core book,
Yeah.
it's not something we've really used,
Yeah.
but resonance is a thing.
Oh, absolutely. And guys, please dive into these things. There's so many pearls that we're not using. So
Yeah, there's a lot of different aspects of the game. As we said, it
touchstones
started
as
as
well,
a
and,
touchstones.
I mean,
It started
like,
as
yeah.
a one shot, so we decided not to use most of it. We are starting to incorporate more things like rouse checks when we wake up
Sure.
and
Yeah.
different aspects of the rules. But
Learning as we go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's also your game, guys. Like
Yeah.
if you want to adopt something small that we do, like run with it.
Yeah. When in
And-
doubt,
and-
homebrew anyways. you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
Yeah.
and also send us the information. Like it's something that we've done has like influenced you and like kind of like and you've just expanded upon it. That'd be so interesting for us as the players.
Yeah, because we may have taken stuff out like touchstones and stuff, but we also added stuff from other White Wolf games.
Yeah, I mean, and not
Well-
just White Wolf. I mean, we're stealing from D&D, and we're stealing from, Pathfinder, and we're stealing from Warhammer
Old
40K.
editions of the
and,
Vampire
yeah,
books.
we're
Older,
using,
yeah.
like, I mean, like,
a lot going on.
A small shout out, like the John and Keith Joyner that like taught me how to play. Like they were home brewing, so I'm using a lot of their stuff that like. And adapting it to fit what we're doing. And just always remember that, like, that book is there for a wonderful guide, and just let your imagination go.
Robbie, would you like to take a question from the audience about Rasputin?
Absolutely.
All right. So this question says, I want to know the most bizarre creature or person conflict Rasputin may have had.
So one time I got into a very odd argument with goats. No, it's like, it's fine. It's... So, have you ever met a goat? Have a goat ever been nice to you? I'm asking like to table.
Call back to the first Gomez and Myrtle.
Right.
Yeah, he was a nice goat.
No, I mean, like, I think that Rasputin truly relishes his moments of conflict because it's people acting normally. Like, instead of getting underneath their facade, getting into who they actually are. I mean, he's the guy that would like light a firecracker at a party,
Yeah.
just to see what happens.
He knows what's going to happen.
Rasputin specifically, I mean, he's just been around for so long, and you got to realize his perspective and where comes his true vampiric curse. He's the most bored man in the room.
Yeah.
Like it's like a lot of vampires deal with the problem of being around forever. Like just year after year, things don't taste as good because you've tasted them. Things aren't as bright because you've seen them.
Yeah. So in that sense, would you say that Set would be his most interesting conflict right now?
Although he saw it coming.
But he doesn't know the ending.
True.
Yeah, he's still walking through them. Yeah, he's actually living a story that he hasn't finished already. For those that have listened to some pieces coming up to Tokyo, there's a wonderful set piece with him talking about a chessboard and like, do you want to know the ending? It's odd. What's tragic about that moment for me, for him, is that people don't know if he knows or not. I mean, like, he probably doesn't, but that's the way everyone talks to him.
And then that brings us to the question that we've discussed as players. We know that Rasputin is on a sire, or at least we think he is, but we don't know if he's Malkavian or Tremere, because it's never directly been addressed.
Rasputin is a creature of the night that no one has a good fix on. It's more that is why he's given such breath. That is, and also, and as an odd part, he's also a lot of fun. Like he's a ball of energy that comes into that has access to very ancient vampires and brings in a shot of life. And you'd think that a person that knows how the game ends would be the most boring guy at the table, but he's just playing it for the fun.
And I think that that's why he is actually able to get away with so much, because it doesn't matter if he's talking to somebody high in the Camarilla or if he's talking to somebody who has associations with the Inquisition. He's never anybody but exactly who he is, wearing his Crocs and his Nintendo 64 t-shirts.
And I think enough time has passed that enough of his predictions have been proven correct that even if he's an ass, they're like, maybe he was an ass for a reason. You know what I mean? Like
Nostradamus,
yeah,
you got
right.
that from me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
right.
I mean, like,
Well, yeah, he's kind of like I kind of always considered him kind of like a Greek philosopher.
absolutely.
That
Yeah, the guy in the
is
bucket.
in a,
man.
he's just in a different realm.
Yeah.
You know, like even the government would come to him for
Yeah.
questions and
Oh,
stuff.
absolutely.
But he operates on a completely different level, where he doesn't have to put on airs. He doesn't have to adhere to the crazy shit that
Yeah.
they do. He can just exist, and they have to accept that.
Yeah.
So then here's a question. Doesn't really have to do with the game, but might tie into Rasputin. It says, have any vampires in that universe committed grand theft at a blood bank? And if so, how did that go?
Oh, Day has absolutely done that.
Oh yeah. I mean, like,
before I had my drugs that I would sell to get blood bags, that was part of my deal, is that I would get a steady supply of blood bags. I'm a bagger, so I would get clean, good shit through my connections.
Was your sire a bagger as well?
She was not.
you know, that's so interesting because I know so many secrets that you guys don't know, obviously, right? But like, I know nothing about your sire. I don't need you to like pour it on right now.
Yeah,
but
I'm
just
gonna
like,
save it for the campaign. But she was not a bagger. She turned me. She killed herself because she couldn't deal with the thought of eternity anymore. And there was something that happened that caused that, and it's what constituted Day to move to Vegas, because he knew it was like an up and coming thing. He'd heard about Kindred Society trying to build something out there. He spent a lot of time out there just doing drugs in the tunnels, basically homeless. Well, he was, just one of the other bottom feeders until he worked his way up enough to get where he was for episode 0.
oh, absolutely. I mean,
So-
I do think that Day,
but he's definitely robbed hospitals before. Like, he's absolutely gone in and.
once you get, I mean, at least in this universe, once you get high enough into the Camarilla, so a lot of these things are provided. You know, it's just more of a, the people on the bottom, the rebels, those are the people that are actively hunting, that don't want to hunt.
So then to get back to the Camarilla and like the Inquisition, after Rasputin's like wine cellar, we go into that main control room that shows his property.
Absolutely, yeah.
One of the questions was about the Inquisition, like who blew up Rasputin's house. So can we talk about how that went?
Oh, it's... You
So
don't,
we're in that control room
Sure,
and we
sure.
see the
You-
outside of the St. Petersburg Cathedral,
you don't get to...
St. Isaac's.
St. Isaac's Cathedral
right.
getting blown up.
Yeah.
You don't get to send Rasputin a email.
Right.
In fact, that's part of what Jessica does, right? She kind of... She archives everything. She's making a human connection to a vampiric force, and she herself is a magic user. So for her, it's very... But his day-to-day is usually multiple layers that he set up so he doesn't have to deal with it. So you don't just get to knock on Rasputin's door.
So
well,
who decided to blow up the house?
This was the end of the world, and they needed Rasputin to have a reaction. So it is the Inquisition that did that. Not the that's the left hand of God is probably the only person that could have made that decision.
And then that was also the first time we got to see Jessica use her abilities, was when Dante pulled her to the side
Yes.
and tried to seduce and eat her.
Yeah.
That
To
she
gain her powers.
Yeah, to get her powers, that she kind of flipped him around and
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and that's a whole thing that we do a lot more in the chronicles that we're going to find in Japan.
Yeah.
And you'll get a lot better explanation about all of that coming up if you're listening
just
as we
did
go
Japan.
through.
You mean London?
No, I meant Japan.
Yeah, that's in Japan. She does a lot of stuff. In
Yeah, I
Japan.
mean, like, oh no, but you just get a better understanding of like what magic is and
Yeah.
the society of it.
Yeah.
But the blowing up of the cathedral is forcing, because it's the end of the world, right? We're talking about, like giant, like all around the world.
10 of 10, 12 of 10.
All around the world, you had these events like you had in Vegas. Like, it's not just like the snake god came down and touched Vegas itself. That was the only place it touched. You had these events around, like multiple experiences of the snake touching existence itself that will culminate later into one single entity. So Rasputin, through his books, has always said this is how it's going to end. Like, this was his big thing.
And that's why he's so insistent on everyone reading his
Yeah, right.
books.
So so they essentially knocked on his door loud enough to make sure that he answered it, because
Yeah.
you can't corner him into dealing with you.
Yeah, it's kind of like picking up rocks and finding the bugs under the rocks.
Yeah.
That's kind of what the Inquisition did. They picked up his rock and were like, bro, we
Yeah.
need you out here.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if it was it before or after that I know for sure, I remember Danica tried to do something and I got like a crit fail. And so I tried to eat Lawrence and
Yeah.
got pushed out into the hallway.
That's afterwards.
That's
so
afterwards.
that's way
We
afterwards.
got yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
After the Inquisition blew up the St. Isaac's Cathedral, Rasputin was like, "Bro, just knock next time." Even though that's how they knocked, but he's not going to
Yeah,
admit
yeah,
that. So they came in, did a small ritual to show even the playing field, kind of that we're on neutral ground.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So they did.
Oh yes, I
yeah.
know exactly what you're talking about.
Took out the
transfer.
swords and the
Yeah, I mean, this is
transferring.
actually coming back to the prince. Like, you got to remember.
The prince is prancing around.
Well, yeah, he's political.
Yes.
And meeting the left hand of God, like, none of you would ever do that. I mean, like, that's like top high table kind of thing.
Meeting the walking saint is already bizarre enough.
Yeah, I mean, that's
a possibility.
I mean,
but
like,
not-
yeah, the left hand.
It's a rare chance, but meeting the left-handed god is not something that would
especially,
ever happen.
especially as a vampire, and some of the ways that they control just the being in the same room together is pageantry. Like it has to mean something when this person comes in. Like there is.
So
a
what was the
pageantry of it.
transference part? Because I don't totally
They-
remember that.
The prince pulled out his sword and
Oh, that.
sliced himself on it,
Mhm.
and then like the walking saint poured holy water on top, and then it boiled off.
Yeah.
And that was
Rasputin did it too, right?
No, I
Just-
think he was just watching.
Yeah, Rasputin.
I thought
wasn't-
Rasputin did, and he was like, okay, fine, but he hated the whole concept
No,
of it.
he hated the concept of it, but he just watched. He let it happen in his house,
Oh, okay.
and then after that had taken place, that meant there was a commonality amongst everybody.
Yeah,
there was
at
no
this point.
animosity or anything.
Yeah, right. You have what they could consider absolute evil, but what you guys consider your life, compared to what you consider someone that hunts you, that is accepting. It's a come together moment.
Yeah. And then there was discussions on what's going to happen and who's going to go where.
Yeah.
And
Well, from this point, I think is when.
I guess we did do Lawrence before that.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure we fixed Lawrence before that.
Oh yeah.
Because Danica tried to eat him, and you guys were like, no, go sit in the
Okay.
hallway.
Yeah. So before
It
right,
was before what's his nuts tried to seduce Jessica.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what threw me
Before
off.
that,
Yeah.
yeah.
So backtrack just a little bit. We went upstairs and we introduced Rasputin to Lawrence.
Oh, which was so exciting
Yeah,
for
and Rasputin's
Rasputin.
eyes lit up, and he was
Yeah.
like, "Not only can I fix this, I've been wanting to do something like this for a very long time."
Yeah, I mean, like Rasputin has his own hobbies, right?
We just gave him the best guinea pig of
Yeah.
all time.
Yeah.
Christmas.
There was a whole ritual with gears.
Yeah,
and-
we had him in a room, and he was phasing throughout it, and
It was to save Lawrence's life.
yeah, and I
essentially.
went in to go tell him that it's going to be okay, but he needs to trust us. And once I calmed him down a little bit, we all went in, and we were going to help with this ritual that was going to hopefully stop him from phasing. And Danica was like, "Oh, you can trust me," because he phased onto the ceiling, and was like, "Oh God!" And she's like, "Just drop into my arms, like you're fine." And then when he landed, you made her roll for
Rouse
the
check, I think it
temptation,
was.
a rouse
Yeah,
check,
yeah.
because this powerful being, you know, and she crit failed, and she tried to nosh on him.
Sorry.
Snack.
I pushed her off, and then kind of like
Why don't they eat snacks anymore?
I drew like a line in the sand and was like, "You're not a part of this anymore. Get the hell out." And that's like when I started hating Danica again, because until then, like there was a camaraderie again,
Oh, absolutely.
and then now I didn't trust her.
Hey,
I
you
was
put me in
like-
timeout.
Yeah, I was like, "Get out."
Yeah.
So then it was Anna, me, and Boris and Rasputin.
Yeah, the next time Boris came up to swing at the plate, but
I think it was just you, Anna, and
no, Boris
Dante.
is
Boris was there.
definitely
Boris
there.
was there?
Dante wasn't a part of it. I didn't want
no,
him in
Dante
it.
put a gear in because he came up with some ridiculous like gold giant fuck off gear.
I don't remember that.
I don't remember the
No?
Dante thing.
I don't
I remember
Dante in that
Boris.
at all.
The way I remember it is that
Because it was before we
a lot
killed
of
him.
Anna and you, I believe Anna saved Boris because
She did. She
it
put up a
was
shield.
Yeah,
With the
right.
shield,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then, so essentially, the ritual was we had these gears that would reset his timeline and allow him to exist normally where
Yeah.
we are. And we were going through that. It was very difficult. There was a lot of rolls involved. Anna killed it. Boris killed it. Rasputin obviously killed it.
Mhm.
I was having a really rough time. I think it was like up until the last one, like the critical moment.
Yeah.
I had succeeded, and then when I failed, half of what I was got pulled out of me.
Yeah, that was like the merging of.
And then I rolled another one, and like I succeeded, and I pulled back Lawrence.
Mhm.
And so afterwards, Lawrence was smoking a little bit
Mhm.
and on the ground like, holy shit. You know, like that Matrix one, like, I know Kung Fu.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Yes.
And so we're like, are you okay? And I was like, I don't even know if I'm okay.
Yeah.
And that's actually when I switched. Up until this point, I was a Bruja, and I had to switch over to a Thin Blood because I had pulled out enough of my vampiric abilities that it screwed up all of my stats. And from Russia thereon, I was this homebrewed Thin Blood, and that's where you see stuff like Recant and Focus, which are homebrewed.
Well, you didn't even know you were a
abilities.
thin blood for a while, though. You're still
Yeah.
playing as
Yeah.
a Bruja.
Yeah.
How has that been, by the way? That's actually kind of interesting to me. Like,
Oh, I've loved
like
it.
because
It's-
you're surrounded by things that are much sturdier than you, but you
Yeah.
have these other abilities.
Yeah, you got Danica, who's a tank, but I mean, honestly, it's been fun to work with Lawrence in
Mhm.
certain ways and do badass shit in a completely different way than I had originally intended for the
Mhm.
character.
Mhm.
So I'm enjoying it.
Cool.
But yeah, so I pulled out enough of my vampiric abilities to change things up, and I pulled in some of Lawrence, and vice versa. He got some vampiric abilities, you know.
Thank God, because he was so squishy.
Yeah.
Like it was really hard to have Lawrence
Yeah.
around.
So
Like, and he gets backhanded.
So then after that is
after,
when...
after that was the Inquisition.
Okay. One of the questions is if the group is working with the Inquisition out of convenience or if there's any trust there.
I mean, especially with the Justicar, and the Walking Saints. I mean, there is true, not just respect, but friendship. They are in it together. A long time ago, they've decided that
Right.
This is the way.
that's a thing.
Yeah.
Well, Linda, what were you going to say?
Just I think that what's happening right now is, the Camarilla, the Inquisition. None of those lines in the sand really matter very much.
Yeah, it's the
I
end
was
of the
going to say
world.
it's
It's the end of the
convenient
world.
because they're there, but also I think we trust them because we don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Right, and
They're
they
the
don't,
only ones who are there to help us right now.
and they don't have a choice but to trust us as
Right.
well.
Right.
Because if humans die, vampires die.
Yeah.
Right.
And the end of the world is the end of all of us.
And a lot of the things that you'd be lacking, they can provide. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, the interesting thing about Set is that he's not theological. Like, in this world that we're doing, we're using Cain and Abel as actual figures in philosophy.
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
that's part of the lore of
yeah, so-
Vampire the Masquerade.
Yeah, but there's actually a lot of answers to the progenitor of vampires and whatnot. The one that we've gotten into is Cain and Abel.
Yeah.
So there is an aspect of actual religion there. So the Inquisition does have power, like
God is
actual.
real.
Yeah,
Yeah.
God is real. There's a real thing that they fight. You know, what I mean,
And we
they're-
are
they're-
truly cursed.
Yeah, right. And
know?
you guys, I mean, none of you, are, like we've said from the beginning, none of us are heroes.
Yeah.
You know, like we're all damned.
Yeah, and that's another thing is Day personally doesn't care enough to trust or distrust the Camarilla or the Inquisition.
Yeah.
He's really in it for Day for selfish reasons at this point.
Sure.
The only person he truly, truly trusts is Lawrence,
Yeah, that makes perfect
and
sense.
everybody else can eat a dick. No, but really, he after Tokyo, he likes Danica enough, you know, to not like be plotting against her or anything. He likes Anna because she's weird.
Why are you so weird?
She's so weird.
Have you met yourself?
He really likes Rasputin because Rasputin kind of,
Well,
in a
Rasputin
sense-
is just honest.
yeah, he's gonna tell you the way it is. But as far as like the convenience thing, I guess it'd be more out of convenience than
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
else. There's no real trust or distrust. It's really,
I think it's just
Oh,
rats on a sinking ship
yeah. It's
going.
like, oh, you're here too. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much everything that happened in Russia. Because right after the Inquisition,
I mean, there's the part where we killed Dante.
Oh yeah, that
Oh,
little
yeah.
part.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Which
that
is,
little part.
Yeah.
oh yeah, your huge character arc.
Yeah, I
Whoops.
mean, like,
Oops.
So yeah,
the floor is yours.
I mean,
Like-
long story short, Dante was being a dick.
consistently.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
and oh, sorry,
Okay,
I'm
so-
jumping all over your moment.
Go for
here.
it.
Sorry, no.
because we went over it in episode 0, but like Danica just felt underappreciated and then
Well,
saw
also
Anna
Michael
Rasputin.
Michael had gone to kill Dante in
Yeah,
Vegas.
Danica got that text that
Yeah.
said it wasn't the cross that made me do it. And that's when she realized that Michael was going to kill Dante anyways. So she was like, okay, all my pent up aggression and the things that I feel like I should do right now are validated. So she killed him. She had to kill the Dante.
He was basically after we had the conversation with the Camarilla and the Inquisition, and we were going to work together and figure out what's happening and how to hopefully mitigate this apocalypse. Dante was like, "No, we're going to go to Italy.
Oh,
we're
yeah.
going to consolidate our resources, and we're going to get the hell out of here. Like, fuck these people, fuck the Camarilla, fuck the Inquisition. I have my own power. I have all of Italy, which is a tiny ass country.
And we all wanted to
But-
go to Tokyo because it was like the last place that hadn't been affected. Because
Yeah,
we
we
saw
knew-
the
we knew
newscasts
Tokyo,
on
yeah.
all the TVs that was showing like,
Tokyo's still standing.
yeah,
All
every
the
place
thing-
around the
everything else
world.
is falling.
Yeah.
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 So there was that huge problem, and then he was basically abandoning the pact
Yep.
with all of the people there, and
Ultimately, he was going to get us killed, and he was only in it for himself.
And he-
on
yeah.
top of that, he was not helpful. He'd always kind of held Danica as a prisoner, and
she wanted to break away. And when she did, he pulled a gun on her, and that, in at least our vampire lore, like that is grounds for termination. If
Yeah.
you pull a deadly weapon on another vampire, you have that authority in certain situations.
Well,
If you,
sure,
if
you're
you can
all
prove,
animals,
yeah. If
you know
you
what I
can
mean?
prove,
You're all
if
savages.
You can, yeah, if you can prove that it was necessary, you know, and so
Sure, there'll be a trial.
yeah. So, but I mean, because the Inquisition and the Camarilla were there and they saw it happening, Danica had free range to, you know, kill Dante.
yeah.
And when she did, the Camarilla Inquisition were like, "Yeah, that guy was a dick. Like he pulled a gun on you and threatened to leave.
Tried to
and-
kill Jessica,
Yeah, tried to kill Jessica earlier. So
Yeah.
and that's when we got on the plane, and then that's where episode 0 starts.
that's where the true episode 0 starts.
That's what's going on.
We go
That's
on.
what's happening.
We head into Tokyo. That's what's going on. That's everything that happened. Please subscribe.
Welcome to Vampire.
All right, welcome to Vampire.
Thank you,
Oh,
guys.
we had one more question.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Actually, yeah. Why don't we
Yeah,
jump
let's,
into if we have any
anything
more?
else
I
we
think
got?
we have a couple. We will field them. Thank you guys for going down this track with us. For us, it is like 2:00 in the morning.
Okay, so question was, why do my SpaghettiOs make lightning when I microwave them in the can, but to be answered specifically by Cerberus?
Because you touch yourself strangely in the bedroom, and God knows.
By Cerberus?
Yeah. Just
Like-
joking. Sorry. Shoot it at me again.
So go into Cerberus mindset.
Yeah.
Why do my SpaghettiOs make lightning when I microwave them in the can?
Stupid.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anything else? Spaghetti-O? Are we ending on SpaghettiOs?
We might be.
Didn't you have one, Tyler? And didn't you have one as well from?
Oh, I had a question for Anna.
Oh, yeah.
Why are you so weird?
She is weird because she can get away with it. Really. I mean, she...
And who's gonna stop you?
Yeah, like, she's completely capable of being...
I think also you get
normal.
a little bit of the breath wave of Rasputin. Like people are like, oh, she's weird too.
Well, we do have a
Yeah.
couple episodes of London recorded, so I'm not going to give anything away. But there are definitely moments where it's shown that Anna isn't just a crazy biatch.
Yeah.
You know, she has really intense moments of, thought and,
Well, I think you can say that about everybody. You know.
Well,
what I
yeah,
mean?
but like Anna, like she goes, like Anna goes off the rails all the time, and you will see in London that there's more to that than just she's not just some crazy woman.
Yeah.
You know, she's
But
not
she has a method behind her madness.
Yeah.
And that's always how I've played her. There's always been something more to Anna just kind of bubbling below the surface. And,
Oh, absolutely.
and I think that she covers a lot of that up just by being weird.
Oh God, I want to spoil so many things.
I know, right?
I
Yeah.
have a question for Day.
Yeah, what's up?
When are you proposing to Lawrence?
Oh, that's.
Oh
gonna
my
have to
God,
be-
we have a wedding to plan.
I
have
know.
with the perfect place.
That's gotta be Patreon goal, man. We'll do a whole episode about the wedding in Fiji.
All right.
Fiji.
Fiji.
It's my
No,
fucking
it's going to be an
fantasy.
honest place.
Yeah, it's going
It's
to be
his
in,
wedding.
It's going to be in the Queen's Theater. We've got all of the lighting. We've got all of the costumes. It'll
God,
be wonderful.
You're just like an over-exaggerated version of a mother-in-law.
No, it's all planned out, honey. Your future. Don't worry about it.
We're
Oh my
doing,
God.
We're doing it in a church in the Queens. I mean, look.
Oh my God! Do I get to walk you down the aisle?
Oh, yeah. Who's the best man? And then who's the dad?
Oh, here's a hard one.
Who's wearing the dress?
Okay, first of all, the best man is Rasputin,
I
Good.
and the flower.
Fine.
And you'll have
Cerberus is the flower girl.
You'll have to wait to find out. Who
Or the
flower
ring
girl
bearer.
is.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, Cerberus is the ring bearer. Danica is just drunk.
Can
outside.
I be? Can
What?
I, can Anna officiate, please?
I was going to say Anna has to.
today- We
Oh,
are
that's
here.
actually kind of awesome.
Right.
We're here to bring together Lawrence on the
To
day.
join in holy matrimony.
Marriage.
Marriage.
A dweem within a dweem.
What is
We
happening
gotta
right
cut it
now?
now. I'm
You have to
fucking-
watch more movies.
I'm lost. I'm drunk. I need to go home.
That's what's happening.
That's what's happening.
Thank
That's
you
what's
for
going on.
That's
joining
what's
us.
happened. That is what
Yeah.
had been going on.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Vampires and Vitae. I hope that we caught you up a little bit. It really is your guys' questions that drive us, like, please just grab into our community and let us know what you want to hear. And always remember to take a big bite out of life.
Um,